Welcome, everybody, to a Delco Nerd Network Rewind Review, where we sit down and talk about some of our favorite film franchises of the past. On this season, we are talking about the magical world, the wizarding world, if you will, of Harry Potter. Joining me, as always, Mr. Anthony Gooch Ragucci.
It's not just a mangy boot, it's a portkey.
Mr. Casey Wellman.
You.
Matthew Penza.
Yo.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me here today. Today we are discussing the fourth in the series of Harry Potter. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Originally released on November 18th, 2005 with a PG-13 release.
We're post 9/11, people.
I mean, we've been post 9/11 since the second one.
9/11.
So it really helps. Production budget of $150 million that came in about the worldwide box office was about 5.9 that. 5.9. I'm sorry, I never really read that.
Just under 6 times
the budget. Correct. Thank you.
Nice.
With an opening weekend of
Was that like
102
$900
million and some change. What?
150. What was that, like 900 life of?
Yeah, about that. So
almost a
the
billion.
total box office, you're close. 886 million.
I was gonna say
It's
something.
funny. I forgot.
you're like
I've been meaning to get
1.5,
rid of
yeah.
that in there because there's no point. That's
No.
part of on the numbers.com. Very helpful website where I get most of this information.
It's
always
impressive
gives
to
you that.
know, though, like to simplify it that way.
Definitely.
yeah,
And then,
times.
the opening weekend was about 102.6 million, and that was 35.4% of the gross. So pretty good. And that compares to Prisoner of Azkaban's, which was 93 million.
Okay.
So a little bit higher.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's been just progressively.
For the
gross.
most part, I
More
think
and
for the
more and
most
more,
part,
right.
I was going to say, I think
Chamber
it's
of
probably
Secrets-
going to progress.
Chamber of Secrets was the only one to dip opening weekend to make less than the previous movie
Oh, wow.
so far.
Okay. But still, doesn't really mean too much.
No. Again, it's
Just-
a very minor, but it is interesting, like just that little
Yeah,
bit of flux.
to wrap your head
What
around
were
how excited
curious?
people
What
were.
were the dates for the first one and the second one?
The dates for the first one and the second one. The first one was
Fall
released in
as well,
November.
right?
They're all November.
Except for Prisoner of Azkaban was
Prisoner-
June.
Yeah, I remember.
And
Like
then
we said
talked
this in
about
one
And
of
then
them.
part
Yeah.
2, right? It was like,
Vividly remember like every single,
One is November. Yeah,
It's
almost
November.
a
every
holiday.
Thanksgiving holiday growing up.
Yeah.
I mean,
was part 2
Star
the
Wars
only
is the same thing.
7 the only one to like break that because it came out later, like summer
No,
release?
no.
But, well, there was another June with Prisoner of
Prisoner of
Azkaban.
Azkaban
That
was
was June. So, which is interesting. But this was directed by Mike Newell, a newcomer
Yeah.
to the franchises. The original novel was, of course, written by J.K. Rowling with a screenplay by Steve Kloves, who has written the screenplay for all 4 of these so far. I believe
That guy must be living
changes next.
so good.
Oh, it's probably great. I mean, screenwriting is a really interesting, job. That you it's funny. You just don't even
it's just
think
a-
about it.
adapting
right? Yeah.
scripts.
Yeah, it's
How-
usually
how will
adapting the
this-
story into a script.
How
I
will
thought
this
was
look played
Yeah.
out in the medium
Exactly.
of film?
Yeah. And then you got to cut it down. You got to see what you need. It's a hard job.
So are they the ones who are ultimately responsible for and you might not have an answer for this,
Sure.
but for exclusions of certain things, or is it like
yeah, I mean, there's probably a
pack
mix.
it all
They're
in?
probably the director probably comes in and is like, we need you to rework this part. Or we need you. I do think they take story liberties and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure J.K. had a lot in the hand of helping
Or
to
they
develop
film
the
it
screenplay.
and
Absolutely.
they cut it. Probably maybe, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but the Ron-Harry feud, there seems to be something cut from there. I feel like we're missing something.
Sure, we'll get into that too early.
Yeah.
But
I said it was too early.
no, you're right. I don't.
Teenage boys.
It's
I
very
could be
interesting.
wrong.
When they come
No.
to puberty, brother.
It's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Little
I don't know how
sexual
that would
tension.
work,
You're too early, Penza.
especially.
Relax, all right?
Yeah, everyone's too early, guys. I didn't even read the most amazing description yet. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's hear
Harry
it.
Potter finds himself competing in a hazardous tournament between rival schools of magic, but he is distracted by recurring nightmares. That's it.
I don't like that last part
But
at
they
all.
said his name.
Exactly. So I mean, that is the good thing. As long as there's a
last
definable
nightmares?
characteristics.
Hasn't it been a boy or whatever?
Yeah. So the
the
last
last
one
one
I
was
think
good.
was the
Young
best
lad.
one.
The last one was good.
The first, let's see. Chamber of Secrets has no mention of the school. It just says a school of magic and an ancient prophecy. Literally no mention of Harry Potter. So, yeah, not the worst. Definitely not the best when it comes to the description. But, gentlemen, top level thoughts. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. We're here to talk about it. Gooch, what do you think?
Oh, this is fucking a masterpiece, guys. We've
okay.
exited the movie ranking. I think we're in a low tier film.
All right.
I really like this. I what's funny? I was like always forget which movie started with the Quidditch World Cup, and I was like, oh, it's this one. and I'm like, oh shit! Like,
How could you forget that?
I don't know. I think this movie is really tight. It flows really well. There's really no sort of bullshit in this movie. It never drags, and I think it's one of the longer ones where we're sitting at like a 2 hour, like maybe 30-40 time range. And the other ones, I think, were always a little bit less.
I think it's like the second shortest.
Really?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't think it's
part 2 of the last one.
Really?
Chambers of Secrets was longer.
I looked at
Really?
all of
Yeah.
them last night because I was curious, and I think this is the second.
Okay, well,
shortest.
forgive my
But that
ignorance.
it moves at a clip for you then.
Sure.
I really like this rewatching. Again, it's been a while since I've rewatched any of the Harry Potters front to back like this. So yeah. But I definitely remembered like a fucking solid amount of this movie. Really, really enjoyed it.
Love it. Casey,
Right
what
on.
about you?
Agree with a lot of what Gooch said. You know, it's a big turning point in the series. I think I kind of feel like I'm saying that about all of them. They all kind of have their own,
Moments
place.
of turning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have their own place. But this, coming from the book reading perspective, is like probably the biggest step into where you had to make decisions that kind of leave book readers probably like, what the heck, you left that out. But like, it definitely varies thus far.
Sure.
The most from book versus movie.
Interesting.
Not to sell it short, like it's a phenomenal movie. I really do like this movie, and every time I watch it, I kind of forget how much I liked it. But it's a fun Harry Potter movie.
May I ask what the largest difference you find in it to be?
There's a lot.
It's
Like the one I guess that sticks at like that. You're like, what's the one that comes to mind right now? I guess is there anyone that was like kind of major?
So
Or like
it's
most of the
mostly
main
like
story beats pretty
exclusions.
good.
Some of that, like the house elf stuff.
Yes, exactly. Like so.
Yeah, that's interesting. I did
Well,
see that.
like we can get into it, but like Dobby, off
Sure,
like the house
completely
elves,
doesn't-
Completely
Dobby,
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in this movie.
and then like other elves that wind up having an impact, and we can get into
Interesting.
that.
No,
Hermione
okay,
has
yeah,
a
yeah.
whole like.
Yes.
That's right. I did hear about that where she's
subplot
trying to
about,
like free the
yeah.
elves or
Yeah,
something.
with
Right?
spew,
So
they're called spew.
There's
Yeah,
no
it's-
time for that.
it's
The
mainly-
tournament's afoot.
A lot of it, like part of it was what we've talked about before, where it's like they gave other characters tasks that make up for like whatever they're cutting
Sure.
out. But somebody else
Interesting.
is the medium that makes sure Harry find out this information or whatever.
Makes sense.
But there's also just people they outright excluded, like certain and like Bagman, Ludo Bagman, and all that. But again, like Gooch said, like really, really good. I actually am interested that you called it a film. Because
Yeah.
I kind of, and we'll get to it, but like I kind of think all of them are movies to me. But that doesn't mean they're not good. I guess it's just like
No,
there's
no, no,
there's
yeah,
films
I
and there's
understand what
movies
you're
as
saying.
the classification.
goes, of
yeah,
course,
exactly.
yeah.
But it's cool to hear that you thought of it that way. So I don't agree or disagree. I just have to I got to mull it over a little
Sure.
bit.
All right, I like it.
But I love this one,
Mr. Penza, what do you
Yeah,
think?
pretty much echoing what he says. I think this is definitely the most of the ones that we've seen, the most exciting without a doubt.
Yeah.
I like it's action
Totally.
like almost nonstop.
Yeah.
I always said this. I was always like, I always felt that book readers, at least like some that I've talked to, when it comes to the movies, kind of like this one the least.
because it's
Interesting.
so off track.
Because
Like
there's
you
a
said.
lot.
Polarizing.
There's,
Polarizing,
there's a
yeah.
lot missing, and like the morons who didn't read the book always enjoy this one the most because
They didn't
they're
earn it.
idiots.
It's literally
they're fucking
on my
fools.
notes. This is my favorite one so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
that's
hey,
fine.
It's
Because you're
for me
morons
as well.
that didn't read the book. Man.
Exactly. I'm
No,
a
but
good one.
there's a ton to like about this, and like everything. I know we talked about this before, but like everything holds up. Everything looks good.
Oh,
Like,
it really does.
Yeah, like
I watched,
Absolutely.
there was a behind the scenes thing, and we're jumping a little bit ahead to the Yule Ball, not to get too in depth
Sure.
with it, but I was watching the behind the scenes of that. Very interesting. It seemed like they took a
On HBO.
Yes.
Yeah,
what is
but
that?
I looked. No.
He was
I
just
just
clarifying.
I
Okay.
noticed
I feel like
that
I just-
was the thing, like dancing or whatever, like the
Yeah.
Yule Ball. Yeah, I didn't watch. it.
Yeah. So, and I was just like, I was surprised not how practical they did it, but it just seemed like there's something.
like what element of the Yule Ball were you surprised was practical?
I don't know. Like they're all like, we're gonna teach you how to dance, and like we're gonna actually like.
Choreography, brother.
We're gonna do
No, it is.
this.
It is
Yeah.
interesting.
We're gonna do
for
it.
like a
we're just
scene
gonna
that
like
is that short.
throw a prom, pretty much.
Yeah.
Sure.
And like that's what they do. And like even though they're acting as if they're nervous, they are also nervous.
Sure.
So it seemed just very genuine. Like,
Sure. It was very well exexecuted.
Yeah.
Part of
yeah.
that $150 million was dancing lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Yeah.
fun fact that I didn't write down because I didn't find it to be that fun. They only gave Daniel Radcliffe couple
he says
days
that, 3
before.
days.
Yeah, he's like, I only got like a couple days when everyone else was like full on.
Yeah,
practice. But I think it works in that scene
Totally.
because he kind of just looks awkward and not really like he knows what he's doing.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
he literally in that behind the scenes, he literally says that he's like, I had like 3 days to do this, and everyone else has been like fucking been doing this, bro.
And I
What's
did like
going
that.
on?
Yeah.
I'm Dan Radcliffe.
Because McGonagall kind of comes up and is like, "Didn't I tell you that?" He's like, "No." So
Yeah.
how he wouldn't know? Why would he
Yeah.
have learned how to dance? No, that is really good. Yeah, man. This one is definitely, I think, the one that moves at the best clip so far out of these first 4.
Yeah.
I think 3 comes in at a close second when it comes to pacing wise, but like you said, I think it's one good scene after another that really kind of builds what's going on. I don't think that the Ron Harry thing, as Gooch alluded to, works very well. I know I've
Very
heard
weird.
reasons as to why that works much better in the book, and how they're able to exacerbate or not explain that a little bit more, and I can take that. And even upon a rewatch, I do kind of see why. At first, I was like, well, why was everyone like, fuck Harry? But then he gets to the dragon thing, and everyone's like, woo, Harry! He has his own section and shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, wait, wasn't everyone just shitting on
another
him?
point? I was like, why does everyone just hate Harry all of a sudden?
But
Right.
I see how that might have been set up with Rita Skeeter, like kind of making it seem like he's bragging about this, and then Ron's reading this in the book.
Yeah.
And so I'll take that back a little bit, even though I do find it to be very rushed, and then all of a sudden they're like, we're mates again. It's fine, man.
Yeah, mates.
But yeah, man, I think CGI, like you said, holds up phenomenally. One thing they do about this in these movies is really make it never feels like a green screen. It never feels like you're on a fake set for the most part. It really feels like you are in that fucking pit with that dragon.
Yeah,
with
they
Harry.
do a good
Yeah.
amount of like practical and green screen.
Yeah.
work.
How was he surprised by that dragon?
I was
It's a
laughing
full
when I was
entire-
watching that. I was like, and everyone in there's quiet. I'm like, wouldn't somebody be like, holy fuck?
There's
like,
a
you know,
dragon
like,
there, Harry.
Yeah.
Like I felt like
And it's
again,
changed. It's changed. How
movie
far
stuff.
could it go? You know?
Yeah, but it was
I had
just
the
funny
same
because I was like,
exact thought.
why wouldn't he? Because he not seeing that other side of the thing. Anywho, I mean, Harry. I think Daniel Radcliffe himself is really good in this movie. He looks very much, I think, the most like Harry
We're
Potter
in the
this
middle
book.
school phase where we all have long hair and we're all growing it out for the first time. Like
Absolutely.
every fucking
They're
Been
going through
there.
puberty, bro.
not
Been there,
every
done
not
that.
every guy
Raging teenage
Yeah, right.
hormones.
not every
Everywhere.
guy in this movie has long hair, but like the majority do. It's pretty funny, and
Yeah.
so we
Like-
all cut it.
Yeah.
Like,
but
you
it's
know.
like Seamus Finnegan and Dean Thomas that don't. That's it.
No, it's-
Yeah, everyone-
Everybody
I
everyone
feel
else,
so
yeah.
bad
Yeah.
saying this, but the guy who plays Neville starts to look like a human being here. Like he starts to look
yeah.
like he comes
Oh,
into his own. To be truthful, like
can't
it
remember.
is
I mean, he's a
funny to
good-looking
see.
dude.
No, he is now, especially. Yeah.
Very good looking guy.
But no, I think all the kids do really well. Again, I don't know what it is with Hermione. I maybe it's part of her character. I really feel like she's overacting sometimes.
it's part of her character, I think.
But it's just like it doesn't sell it very. Like when she that the
don't think
part
she's that
where Neville
obnoxious.
is not even obnoxious, but there are times where I feel like she's overdoing it. That scene with Neville when he's getting tortured, I realize the connotation behind that. But I feel like she really stands up very dramatic, like stop it, it's hurting him. I'm like,
I feel like
That's
she's
Hermione. Yeah.
Right. No, I know.
Yeah.
Like
It's
I wanted to bring that up because she does, and she does it in the last movie. It's the same thing. I think it's just because she's a know-it-all.
yeah,
I
but it's
really
for
think
me,
that's what
it's
it
way
is.
too oversold. Like I think she could do that in a way that comes off more realistic.
Say it's a know-it-all thing.
She's like mad convicted. Like
Yes.
like when she feels
Yes.
something,
But
she
she,
feel,
like-
and that's like the
but
spew
she has,
thing. They
like,
cut
the-
that out.
Yeah.
Like
She has the
she's a bleeding
knowledge
heart.
and the
like,
intelligence to kind of like challenge professors and other people, and she just
Sure.
seems to be really confident in herself in that regard.
This might be a weird question, but do the other children know what happened to Neville's parents?
I don't think so.
That's a good question.
It's
I think it's kind
Because
of
I know
loosely
they like,
mentioned in this
like
movie.
obviously, yeah. Because they
Nah,
say talk
I
about
think
the
they. I
long
think
bottoms.
they might. I think they might because.
Because I know he says he lives with his grandma. Or
Because
whatever,
everything. Because all that stuff's like, no knowledge with Voldemort and everything.
yeah,
And like
yeah,
those who
like
died.
his like his.
Oh, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I thought it was both his parents. It might have just been his dad. Where like
Frank,
or
yeah.
so
Yeah, I thought
like
it was-
they're-
yeah.
it's known like what happened to them.
Sure, because they that makes sense.
that,
Interesting.
You know, certain Death Eaters torture
All right,
them. But,
all right, that makes sense. Yeah, I was just curious because like I was like, oh, she seems to kind
But-
of know.
yeah,
but this
Neville,
movie-
Neville's a fascinating character.
No, absolutely.
This movie does start
Where's-
pretty differently. We don't no Dursleys. First one,
Yeah.
no Privet Drive scene at all.
Oh, yeah.
We're straight in. I don't even know where we are to start the movie. Are we in the
They're
Weasleys?
they're at the Burrow, I think.
At the beginning or after
The Weasley's house is the
after
Burrow.
you get away from
Okay.
Voldemort. Yeah.
Yeah, he just.
He
What?
wakes.
after
talking about
the dream.
Yeah, after he wakes up at the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they go, they're walking to the fucking Quidditch World Cup, which I was like, in our group chat, I'm like, is this Firefly for wizards?
And I did love how
Because
the
they're in
dad's just
fucking
not telling
tents
him. Yeah.
in the middle of the field, and then they're like,
Yeah.
I'm
What,
like,
they're
oh.
tailgating.
Rager.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
That does look like that's one of those things you see in a movie, a party you see in a movie where like, man, I'd love to go to that. That probably
This
is
is
like a-
this is
a
where the
great
real
time.
world, and I feel like the later movies, this happens more and more and more, where the modern isms of our reality bleed into Harry Potter. Like, it's the World Cup.
We might have asked this, but
it's the
this was
FIFA
set in
World
the
Cup.
90s, right? Was the idea?
In the books, yes, but
Yeah.
I think the movies
It's
are
contemporary.
More,
Like
we're
with
more
the time.
contemporary. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that,
I thought that was a
But
great
they never,
introduction.
They never explicitly,
The
as
artist.
far as I know,
like
come out and
drop
say it.
drop a year.
It's like background info.
So
if
here's
anything.
what I don't understand: how is Victor Crumb on like a fucking World Cup Quidditch team, but he's like a fucking student?
What do you mean? Like how?
Bulgarians, dude.
I guess
The
it is
Bulgarians.
interesting that like a high schooler is on the
Right, I
Olympic
thought it was
team.
weird. I'm
if
like,
that's
oh, he
what,
must
like,
be
if
like
that's the
older.
level
He
we're
must
talking
be
the
like-
about.
national team. Yeah.
Yeah.
He must be like
Yeah.
older.
He
but-
is. He's older than Harry.
He's 18.
Well, he's
Yeah.
eight. He's
So is he like his final year?
They don't go into like what Durmstrang's schooling
whole thing
structure
is,
is.
yeah.
I don't know. Genuinely don't know.
I don't want to necessarily jump to talking about that, but I have so many questions about the school.
the other schools and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I find it so interesting how little lines both Crumb and I forget her name.
We'll skip to a real quick
Floor.
fun fact
Floor.
first.
Floor.
Stanislav
Fleur Delacour.
Ianevsky, who played Victor Crumb, has only 2 lines totaling 20 words in the entire film.
Yeah, like they don't talk at all. Like you don't
You
really,
have no business here.
you don't really get any
Get
sense
out.
of these two characters or their backgrounds
Sure.
or where they're from.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a missed opportunity.
From what I was
especially with the Hermione and him not being in a relationship, but like her asking, him asking
wanting a
her
little?
to the
they're
Yule
like
Ball.
they're like
and-
secondary characters. Like
Yeah.
we get
In the movie, they're
the
not as,
time for the characters that like are
and
legitimately
in the
important.
book, are they fleshed out?
Yeah, much more
I
so
wouldn't say
anyway.
fleshed out, but
It's not 2 lines of
It's-
dialogue.
yeah.
Sure,
Right,
yeah, you
yeah.
actually get to know him a little
Yeah.
bit more.
Yeah.
I
And
was
schools are a little
seeing
different.
they seem to go into the schools a lot more within the book, right?
Yeah.
oh
Like,
yeah.
like
Well,
how
it's not.
those-
They're not. One's a boys' school. One's a
yeah,
girls'
they're
school.
both
Well,
co-ed. I did see
yeah,
that in the
co-ed.
book. They're
Yeah.
both co-ed.
Oh, it's just ironically a bunch of like.
I think in the
No,
movie
in the
they just
movie,
decided to do it
one's
as
an all
one's an all
boys,
boys school and one's an all girls school.
So what are the schools again?
Durmstrang, right?
Bo-
Durmstrang.
and
Bobatons.
I always read
Bobatons, yeah.
Bobatons.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Sorry,
and,
right.
and it's
Like
just
Bo-Katan.
Hedwig and Bobatons.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Like
interesting.
Nicholas Flamel went to
Yeah.
Bobatons.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
But
yeah.
in the
Is-
movie, it's an all girls.
Is Hogwarts supposed to be like the most prestigious one?
Uh,
I don't.
guys, you need to know
I
this.
no, that's like
no,
something I
guess
never
not,
really.
because there's like they go into a Fantastic Beasts. Like there's American schools.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's I think it's just regional. Like,
Sure,
It just
okay.
depends on where
And
you're
I
from.
guess
Everyone just
they
gets
only
their
have
letter.
so much time. It's kind of like Witcher and the Witcher schools. They never really talk about the other Witcher schools all that
Right.
much.
Because it's
They're
like
there.
I mean, obviously the
But
most,
they
different
don't really have
animals or
time to-
whatever. Which
to
is
really
like,
get
Right.
into it.
Yeah,
the most
they don't ever-
important stuff's going on in Hogwarts, obviously.
No,
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
also you have like, I don't know, you have like Dumbledore, who's like,
Dumbledore.
Dumbledore.
yeah, like one of the most, I guess,
Did you,
prestigious.
did you guys like
wizards
the
in
way that
world
she said that?
in charge
Dumbledore.
there?
Did you catch the way she
Yeah,
Dumbledore?
He's
That's my
definitely
favorite.
got prestige, but I don't know if Hogwarts
Itself is like this kind of
Worldwide,
well-known
yeah.
entity. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's also just because that's where the
I
frickin'
really
series
did
is
love
based
all
on.
their intros though, like with the ship rising from
Yeah,
the
the
sea.
ship's so cool.
Them all coming in. I thought that was very, very interesting.
The
way
ship,
to,
the ship intro is one of my favorite like
Yeah.
little moments in the not just in this movie but like
in Harry Potter.
yeah, I remember seeing it for the first time and I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit.
And I mean,
Yeah.
this is
Awesome intro.
again, it's blowing my mind that this is 2005. Like looking
Yeah.
back at how well most of this, if not all of it,
Yeah.
holds up when it comes to that. Even that one scene with Sirius's face in the fire, like
Pretty
Yeah, it
good.
looks solid.
I
Yeah.
thought that was
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah,
No, I
Humorous but good.
yeah, exactly.
I'm curious why they did it that way. Is it like that in the book?
I think in
Yes.
the book, I think
Right?
it's more like a holograph type of thing. Like you
But
see
it's
them
in the
flame.
fire.
See, I was thinking. I actually couldn't remember this. I meant to look it up. If I was thinking it was like holographic, like in the flames, you would see their face.
Oh yeah, I thought he meant
Versus like the yes,
Oh,
it's in
yeah.
the fireplace, but I don't know if it's in
Oh.
the embers that you see the face.
yeah, I
I
don't know
was
if it's in
thinking,
the,
I was like, oh,
that's
but-
how I always thought it was too. It
Yeah,
was like
I think
he
it's
was,
like in the flames you see them
the
you know,
face.
the
That
dancing
makes sense
flame.
instead of like the ember.
Because I was
Yeah,
thinking like, oh,
yeah.
maybe there was a scheduling conflict and they couldn't get him. Like,
No, that's how it is.
The behind
That's
the
a good
scenes was
point.
churning.
Sure.
I don't
Why
know.
did they do it that way?
Yeah,
Right.
I guess I would have assumed that it was because like he didn't want to be able like get on Hogwarts for no reason, like to risk that or something,
Well,
like to
yeah,
risk an
yeah.
in-person meeting.
But yeah, that the fireplace is the way he talks to him. That's I forget what they call that. It's like kind of the Flu Network thing, but it's not that. Like you can just use fireplaces to
Yeah,
Open
because
a
they
communication
use it like
channel.
late. They use it in the
Yeah.
books later.
Yeah.
I also really love Moody's intro when he comes into and he's just like, oh, like his just whole mannerisms and everything
So kind of a,
are really
like,
great.
Yeah.
Slight spoilers. Barty Crouch
It came out in
Jr.
2005.
Yeah.
is,
so-
is Mad Moody the entire time. We see him in the movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he
That's
just-
what I assumed.
He gets
Okay.
to Hogwarts and he
Yeah.
has Mad Eye Moody in his box.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure because
Yep.
it always because he's swigging the polyjuice, but like I'm just like, he really like I guess it's kind of convincing that it's
Yeah.
really him.
Well, I mean, that's the first time you see him, so like you have no other.
Right.
That's
we
the
have-
thing.
we have no
That was the
other
other thing that kind of, I guess,
context
makes
for
that
Mad Eye
hard.
Moody.
Yeah.
Besides the polyjuice swigging, and then Snape being like, "You're stealing polyjuice potion ingredients."
Yeah, they bring it up a few times that Polyjuice is being
Moaning
brewed.
Myrtle talking about seeing polyjuice potions in the pipes.
Yep.
There's a few like big indicators, but like other than that,
Again-
and he's like torturing students. But I'm like, it seems like he would do that.
So that was the other thing I had
know?
written down in my notes. Moody psychologically scarred Draco Malfoy. No wonder he's so fucked up still.
Yeah.
He made him into a ferret
Ferret,
and then
yeah.
put him down his friend's pants.
Yep.
That's insane. Like, that's
So-
Crab and Goyle
and I
still
did love
present, by the way.
how McGonagall comes up and she's like, "Don't do that again."
Yeah.
All right, God
Tell
damn
them
it.
all. So I just wrote the Moody thing though. The only thing, just from a book perspective, the only thing that in a way tips you off to it is I think there's mention of like they're joking about Mad Eye Moody and they're like, oh, like says he hears like sounds coming from his garbage cans and like calls the ministry or whatever. And I think that's like how Barty Crouch Jr. actually took him over or whatever. Like there was an actual
Like he
incident where he
kidnapped-
went
yeah.
to his house. There was like rummaging going on and like he heard the trash cans, but like I think from that point is when he like assumed his identity, had him locked up and whatever, and then he comes to work at Hogwarts. So it's like they're all laughing about like Moody's a wingnut and like
Yeah.
paranoid and all that stuff, but like I think that the story is that like that's how Barty Crouch came to take the personality.
Interesting, okay.
But so like they mention it and then I think like later they clarify it. I could be totally
So
wrong
is there
about that.
a
but
length of time that Barty Crouch is being Mad Eye Moody? Do we know?
I think he learns that Moody is going to be teaching at Hogwarts.
and then that's where
and then
he comes in.
yeah.
Okay, so it's not
I
like
think.
years or
No,
Yeah.
months.
No.
Maybe like a few weeks.
Over the course of the summer, I think, from when term ended
that
to when
makes
it's
sense.
starting.
Because I always hate that when you're like in a movie where you find out like the character wasn't actually the character, but you get the reveal of the character at the end. It's like, well, it sucks. We don't really get to know the real Mad Eye Moody.
Well, and that was the kind of thing I was thinking about.
You
it.
will.
No, for sure. But
Yeah,
I
he
do feel
does
like you
come
kind
back,
of have
right?
all these kind
Yeah.
of character building moments with Mad Eye Moody.
But-
But it's not Mad Eye Moody.
right,
So,
exactly.
and that was it. That's one thing I didn't necessarily love either. But still,
Because like he
he's
doesn't
so
really
good.
seem like a terrible person.
Who?
that's
Mad Eye
that's
Moody.
him.
Well, and
He
that's
is.
all.
Well, Barty Crouch Jr. doesn't
That's
seem like
Barty-
a terrible person.
Right.
Is what
But
yeah.
like it doesn't seem like he's like he's
They
there.
do a good job of hiding it.
Right.
In that.
He has
And-
to. He has to.
he has to play the
The
part
number one person he has to convince is Dumbledore.
right, which he does.
and not trip Harry's alarm. I
And
guess.
Snape,
Like,
I guess.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Actually, probably Snape more than anyone. Because
He's really not in this one this much,
nah, he's not.
right?
Yeah.
Am I miss? I
Nah,
feel like he
he's
only has the
not
one
really
scene
not
when he
as
kind of
much,
confronts Harry.
And
No,
then
what?
and
There's
then where
not-
he
there's-
literally beats children
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, there isn't a ton of.
in the study when they're in study hall and
Oh,
they're
that's
talking,
right,
and
yeah,
he
yeah.
like fucking like wallops
Yeah.
these kids.
Yeah.
like
they're
Jesus.
Talking about getting dates.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of like Slytherin focused, I guess.
Yeah. It's
plots
Harry and the
going on.
champions, and then
Right, first time we're really getting any sort of like Hufflepuff interaction with Cedric Diggory too,
Cho
Wasn't
Chang-
many
and Cho
classes.
Chang.
and Cho Chang. Right.
Cedric and
Was
Cho.
there one class this time? Like one classroom scene?
Yes, there is. There is.
Which one?
Besides Defense Against the Dark Arts, there's one other. And Defense
right.
Against the Dark Arts is like,
That's the
in
one
the
they
first,
show
like,
in every
30 minutes. Of
Yeah,
the
that's
movie.
right. I forgot.
They,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, they like bring the other schools in, and then they start.
It's like,
class.
oh, here we
Yeah.
go, another new teacher, another
Yeah.
fucking.
By
year.
the way, I think the Goblet of Fire thing might be like a let's send out an email before school starts to just let everyone know.
Yeah,
Like, you know, like,
yeah.
I don't know. But anyway.
I did kind of want to go back to the Bobattens and it's Durmstrang.
Durmstrang. D-U-R-M Strang.
I like how we're getting like some like worldly culture stuff with the wizarding world. And I don't know if I said this on maybe like an earlier podcast, but like I know I had this thought at some point, and it came up again with this movie. These movies are really inclusive when we weren't trying to be inclusive. Like, there's a lot of different cultures represented in these films, and like Parvati and her sister like being in what
Padma.
Yeah, being wearing like Indian garb to when everyone else is wearing
Cho
the dress robes, and it's like that's an interesting choice.
Cho Chang, same thing. She had like a I don't know what her.
It's funny because she's Irish too. That threw me off. Cho Chang.
Is it Irish or Scottish?
Either one of those.
I didn't realize
it
that.
doesn't matter.
And I'm watching the movie and I'm like, she's an accent?
No, I didn't notice that either.
I don't remember there being an accent.
I know some people complain that she's the only Asian character and her name's Cho Chang, but I'm like, but like,
you could be from. Yeah,
that's what I mean. But is it racist?
Is that a bad thing?
No, I know. That's what I mean. I feel like that's like a weird.
There's like Chinese people who live in Mexico and speak Spanish. It's
and they might be named Cho Chang. Like it doesn't that's the thing. I don't know. I've seen that criticism.
It's like cognitive dissonance.
I can tell you plenty of Asian people we went to school with who had
have stereotypically Chinese names.
And then they were like an American name.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, what do you want to?
Oh, there was one that I just felt really bad for the person for. I'm not going to say it because it's a real name, but we'll talk after this.
I'm thinking of a couple.
I think that's a very good point, though, Gucci. I think there's a good amount of diversity.
And I feel like it just persists through all the movies.
Definitely,
it felt organic, not forced.
Absolutely,
right. Especially for the time.
Appreciatively so.
I love it. So, what do we think about the first dragon/challenge?
First task, yeah.
Yeah, first task.
It's good.
Yeah.
It was all right.
I think all the challenges are pretty cool. I find the one in the lake the best, but the dragon I think is just like, there's a dragon, get the thing.
Yeah.
And they what sucks is we don't really see how the other three perform like at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just like we just get Harry's and he just flies around on the broom, which is cool. Like I think Al Hagrid tells him like you can't bring the broom in with you, but you can summon it.
It's Moody.
Yeah, and you can summon the broom. Accio Firebolt.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's Accio mean? Come?
It means
summoning.
Yeah, because it's it's Latin.
So you can just like point at something. You can specify.
I thought the dragons themselves looked really cool and interesting,
totally.
and like they held up again, as we've been saying. But it really reminded me of. Have you guys ever seen Reign of Fire? The old Bale movie?
Game?
No, it's a
it's a game.
Is it a game on top? Oh, really?
It's a game.
Well, it was with Christian Bale and
Heath Ledger.
No, fuck. All right.
Oh,
Matthew McConaughey. It's an older movie. It's like basically they discover dragons and they come back to the earth.
Something like that.
In that, they're like these really ratty, fucking terrible creatures, and like the way they move is really cool. And I feel like I don't know if they took inspiration from it with this, but I really kind of felt
like wyverns. Which
they do.
Wyverns.
What's the difference? I know which ones has arms and which one has wings, and their arms are on their wings.
Wyverns are kind of like bat-looking, like their wings.
They don't have another arm. Like dragons have wings separate from their arms.
Right. The wings are attached to their arms. Yeah. That's what a wyvern is.
Like when the horntail's walking around.
I thought it was the other way. I thought dragons are connected at the arms, but wyverns just have free arms.
No, other way
around.
No,
dragons have.
You learn something new every day. All right.
Right.
All right, interesting.
But not so much in Harry Potter.
Come on.
So then those would be wyverns.
Technically. Cindragosa?
All right, I'm looking it up. But no, I thought that whole scene was very cool. And him bringing in his we always got to get a good Quidditch scene. I mean, I guess we technically had the one at the beginning.
The flying.
Yeah, we got a
nice
Quidditch scene, but not with the main characters.
I can't believe they didn't include that, though. It would have been so sick to see, like, professional Quidditch.
There's a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of, like, events in this movie that are just kind of cut out.
Or they're just not really focused on.
There's whole chapters they cut out.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense.
I mean, you said that, but like again, we don't see the Quidditch World Cup. Like we get the after party, and then the Death Eaters come. Same thing with the dragon that I just said. Like we don't get any of that. We don't. I think the last the bog challenge, we kind of see parts of that since they're all competing together. So we see them all kind of doing their own thing, and same thing with the maze. They're competing together, so we're seeing it all sorta. I'm trying to think of anything else that was like cut out
from the book you read.
No, from like cut
or what you felt was like missing.
Right, events that they just kind of gloss over. Gloss over. Excuse me.
Well, I think like the final event isn't as grand as like,
Yeah, they're
you
not
think
really
it's
in the
going to be.
maze for all that long.
Yeah.
It's not really the
It's
point.
That
it's a
doesn't
means to an end, and that's getting.
The maze
Harry
is pretty
where
cool.
he's
The
gotta
maze has
go.
some like pretty cool stuff inside.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome in the book.
Yeah, it's like nuts.
What do they kind of have to like face their fears and shit like that or something?
No,
along
there's
those lines,
like
or
what?
is it,
There's just like
just creatures and other things.
There's what Sphinx.
yeah. There's and it's like
Sphinx or
she.
Sphinx?
that sounds like a
Sphinx.
really bad
Sphinx.
word.
Sphinx.
That's not a bad word.
Yeah, she has like the
Sphinx.
Sphinx.
If I remember, I think her way is the shortest way to the
Yeah.
cup, but you have to. She has a riddle, and I forget what happens if like you don't answer the riddle.
She attacks and they're like ferocious apparently.
Yeah.
So if you
Interesting.
don't solve the riddle or you answer it.
So she doesn't
incorrectly-
like technically lose because she didn't finish the second challenge.
Yeah, you get points. And so they explain
she
it better.
gets,
Like,
like,
it's
points
points.
deducted.
Yeah, it's just points per round.
Would her daughter, would her
Per
sister
task.
have died?
No.
So they would have gotten her.
Nah.
I was confused on like how
In he's asking about like the second task. when
the
they're
second task.
underwater.
or the
Oh,
one, like
no.
I'm like, so if
No.
Harry didn't get her, they would have just gotten her after.
And
Okay.
that- But they
This-
give him the bonus
The second
points.
task,
Sure.
by the way, I don't know this for sure, but I'm making a fucking educated guess. There's dummies of them all in the water. They're real and they're dummies. They don't look real. They look real
do
enough
you
that
mean?
it looks like them.
Oh, you mean from a production standpoint?
Yes,
Okay.
they are underwater. I'm interested to hear how they film this because
Okay.
It was
the
filmed
wa-
underwater.
Right.
Yeah.
So
like
when,
with people.
when they're
he's
getting
saying-
the
yeah.
dummies, they're not actually there. They are dummies of
Oh,
them.
I know what you. Oh,
'Cause you
when
can
they're
tell
going.
by
Oh,
their
yeah, yeah,
faces
because they're
Sure.
And I
Yeah.
think that kind of works because they're maybe supposed to be
works.
petrified or
Right,
whatever like
yeah.
that.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it
yeah.
really works. I'm like, they're literally just dummies of these characters.
Yeah, no, they filmed a lot of that. Took a while. Apparently,
Wow.
we'll get more into that.
Under,
into the
I
fun
always
facts.
think about underwater scenes now that I've seen Aquaman for some reason. 'cause
Well, back in the
it's
day,
interesting.
those times they would just literally film underwater. Like now they're just like, oh, we'll put you in a CGI thing, or you're James Cameron and you need to spend 8 years making a new technology to film it underwater, like a psychopath. But I thought I think the second one's my favorite for sure.
Yeah, I like the
Absolutely.
Neville inclusion too.
Yeah, and even that whole scene
Well,
of him
it's
transforming into
What do you mean? It's
Okay, so how does he?
because that
The way
doesn't
he both-
that doesn't
he goes
happen.
like, fuck.
Dobby's the one who
Bullshit.
gives him the gillyweed.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. And
interesting.
with-
And it's not
But
at the
when you cut
behest
out
of
all
Moody.
the
Still,
It's not at the behest of
still
Moody?
with Moody's
Oh, okay.
influence,
Yeah. Alright.
but like Dobby, because they just kind of nixed him from the movie.
They just gave his things to other people.
So Neville got that.
I mean, I guess that does. Do they mention the herbology thing in the books at all with him at all? Or,
I was just
Neville
gonna say, I
is-
like how they bring
yeah,
that up.
Neville canonically is a herbology nut.
so
Like,
that makes. So
yeah.
I guess that does. I guess that's does work for me then somewhat. I guess. But
Yeah,
I can
it-
see how it's like
it's
you'd still want to.
It's a good way to convey the message.
Sure,
with
but of
you know
course,
And
yeah.
get to
constraints.
that like plot
Yeah,
point.
it's,
Sure.
it's not like they had to make something new up to like make it work.
Sure.
Neville is like actually
it fit into that,
It was
yeah.
kind of like it's probably to appease book fans where it's like
It
what
wasn't
actually
like
makes
Neville
sense?
isn't like an astronomy major, and they're like,
Right.
you got the herbology
Right.
stuff,
But
right?
I'm
Yeah.
surprised they didn't like because Dobby was definitely like a fan favorite.
Hell yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't throw like from the
And-
movie.
and
Maybe
watcher.
they just didn't
And
want to deal with
ultimately
another full
important.
CGI character.
right.
And,
Sorry,
and,
well,
and
They
remember,
probably, it was probably a budget thing.
Yeah.
You're right,
Mad
yeah.
Eye Moody does give him the book that he learns Gillyweed from.
Yeah.
So is that I assume that's not in the book at all.
No, like Neville is
That he-
nothing to do
that
with.
he fucks with Neville
Well,
when he's talking about
exactly.
the three
So
curses.
he gives it to Dobby instead, or he helps Dobby instead. Correct.
I think Neville. I can't remember. I'd have to like really look it up, but I think Neville does get like that discomfort or whatever in that class. Like Moody does that, the unforgivable curses in class, and I think Neville is like how he brings about the
That weird
Cruciatus
fucking
curse.
bug.
Yeah,
Don't like that bug.
that spider. or
That's a
whatever
real
that was.
thing.
Yeah,
That's a
No
real. That's a
fucking
real
way.
bug.
disgusting.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
So they
terrible.
put it on their heads?
No, it's no. I mean, I'm sorry. It's the thing that he floats around isn't a real bug, but like that is a model of an actual existing bug
Gross.
that lives out in like I think in like South America.
I
maybe.
did like how they explained all those curses because one, they come up a lot in the later movies, but two, I think they're all used in this movie, right? Like out of the context of the class.
Yeah, I guess you're right for the most part. Yeah,
Yes, because
because he used the
because
torture one on Harry.
Victor Crumb is under the Imperious curse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imperious or Imperiat? How do you say it?
I thought it
Imperious?
was Imperious, right?
It's
I mean, he
Imperious,
says he
I
was
think. I just
cursed
couldn't
with
remember
it, but
there's a
like,
T
yeah,
in
if it's
there,
like
so
actually,
Imperious,
He's
yeah,
bewitched.
Imperious.
He's bewitched.
Yeah.
he's bewitched Cedric.
No.
and then what's his name?
Wormtail and
They get the
Voldemort,
Avada Kedavra.
yeah.
Yeah.
and Voldemort.
What did we think about seeing the Batman himself in this? He really doesn't do much.
He's good. He's really
doesn't
not
do
in the
ton.
movie that much.
This
I think
was-
what he has is fine.
Well, no, and apparently
When
it was
did-
his idea to jump out of the tree at the beginning of the movie.
Apparently,
for some reason, yeah.
apparently it was his idea to.
The gun.
Yeah, like
Hold his wand.
hold the gun
with like two,
more like a
it's like a gun.
See,
He thought it
I'm
was
fine
like-
with like the double
and
hand.
he didn't like the way it looked like
Like just
one-handed.
using one, so
Oh,
he's
wow.
kind of
Kinda,
holding
like, try
it
to
with
hold
two.
it,
Like,
Yeah, but
Wow, I
he's,
didn't know that.
he's
Yeah.
holding it like
That's cool.
like this, and it looks awkward. Once
No,
you
it's,
once you
I think
realize
it looks natural for him because
Yeah.
he's the Batman. No,
See,
kidding.
I'm
But
cool with like two hands, like something like this, like
There was-
a double grip
for sure.
But, like,
No, you
he's
gotta.
like,
but I kind of
let's-
like the way
let's-
he's like.
Let's do this, guy.
Wait, how would you hold one? No, I'm kidding. I really like. There was one moment I don't know how I never caught before, but it was when Moody's talking to Harry before the first challenge, and he's going through all the champions, and he's like, what's his name? Cedric could fucking turn a whistle into a watch at your age, and then
And
he
he could
goes to
sing you
Fleur.
the
He's like,
time,
Fleur is
yeah.
as much of a fairy princess as I am,
Yeah.
and he says something. He's like, he's an idiot, but they'll have a plan or something.
Yeah,
I was like, that
Clark
was a
Gregg.
cool little like insight in their characters that I completely missed. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't realize Cedric was that renowned of a wizard, and it kind of makes
Yeah.
more sense that that's why he was jumping right into the to the challenge, because I felt like all his friends were like, yeah, go fucking kill yourself, it'll be fine, don't worry. Like, you know, they're all
But that's kind of like his thing too. Is like he's not cocky. As
Sure.
far as I remember, like he's like a genuine like good dude.
nice guy. Yeah.
And like you see it a little bit with the pins where he's
Yeah.
like, I asked him not to wear. Like he's
He's
a
really- yeah, he's like,
teenager.
I'm not a
So
complete.
that is
But
a
yeah.
reaction to the article that is written about him.
That's kind of what I picked it up.
Because
on.
I
That's
don't
what I
understand
kind
where
of
the
think.
hate's from. I thought we all liked Harry. You know, the school like genuinely. Like,
I agree with you.
Harry's-
Gooch. I felt like it was
he's
a
cool.
very kind of. That was my explanation in my head canon now.
Because
After
it makes
watching
sense
from
now
a-
that you say it.
That
'Cause
makes,
I didn't realize that.
But
Well,
like
you
again, in the
have-
moment, I didn't necessarily pick. I didn't think that. But what were you about to say, Penza? I'm sorry.
I mean, the way I understood it was, he's already like the boy who lived, and probably the most famous wizard in modern times is
Yeah.
Harry Potter. And it's like, oh, here he is, like somehow gone to the Triwizard
Yet
Tournament.
again. Yeah.
Like here's Harry again, just like
Again, I get
Being
that.
the
I
guy,
don't
you
think
know?
within the film that they explain that well enough.
It's
or
it's
like
rushed. I
telegraph
think is
it
what
enough.
I think rushed is what you said.
That's
Yeah,
exact. I think
it
it's
is
just
rushed.
like, oh,
Cut.
again, can you point out these things now to me where I'm like, I guess you can use that as reasoning for me as to
Right.
why they're thinking that. Fine, fair. The only one that I really don't quite understand is Ron, and I just feel like he makes a really quick jump. And again, I get in the book maybe he is more. He's like, I feel like I'm Harry's runner-up. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
always the best friend. Whatever.
And
I don't.
I think Hermione does explain that to Harry at some point in the book. Like he's got 4 or 5 older brothers. Like he's got siblings. Like he's always kind of in the back seat.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's
And-
like the one place that he felt like he was.
And I think
without
that
the others
actually
saying
would have
on
went a long
par.
way if Hermione
Yeah,
said that
yeah,
to
like-
Right.
him.
We,
So
Like,
it's
in
like-
a
just
scene.
we needed more
Yeah, like
meat to that.
'Cause
Plot.
even
like,
in
I
that-
understood why he was pissed, but
Sure,
I don't think
yeah.
from what we had, he didn't really have the right.
And
to
he-
be.
he
just seemed
wants-
to be in prissy a
well,
little bit.
yeah, and he wants the fame that Harry doesn't want because
Sure.
it's like outside looking in. Like
Of course,
it's-
grass is always greener and all
yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. Like, and then Harry's like, "Oh, dude, you can have it. Like, you can
Like, I don't
take
want
all
this."
of it. I don't."
Yeah, it just felt odd when like Hermione's coming up to be like their intermediary, which she doesn't want to be. But
Right.
to me, I feel like Hermione should obviously be like, Ron, you're being an idiot. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, obviously Harry would have told you this.
She
he
probably
was
did.
going
And
to.
he's probably stubborn.
And that's
Like,
the,
it's like,
but that's why I
like,
think that
don't
kind
know.
of
also-
scene with
there's also a
him
bit
with
of
her
a-
going like, Harry, this is what that would have gone a long way. I think
Yeah.
if they did include that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Penza, what were you about to say?
no spoilers for future stuff. There's always still like a back plot that
Yeah,
maybe
that-
she was thinking about in the back of her head when she was writing this book that they don't go into until later.
Maybe
Right,
Ron would have
like-
like turned.
No, I think it's just like the Hermione Ron stuff in general.
Oh yeah, you can
Yeah.
say.
Oh, this
Yeah.
is the first time they ever. Well, I definitely want to talk about the Yule Ball altogether, so maybe I won't jump to that. But
We can jump there. Honestly, we go.
dude, I fucking love when they're like, they announce the Yule Ball. You got to find dates, and they all kind of become like normal people.
Yeah.
No, that was a
and,
great
then,
scene.
Ron's
Yeah.
or the fucking Harry that line. Why do they travel in packs?
Yeah.
It is so. It really was
I
very
was
like,
this is
oh,
great.
we've all been
This
there.
is-
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
fantastic.
They're like teenage boys.
Yeah.
Like,
Right, but
for a
like the
minute,
whole
yeah.
school kind of becomes really horny all of a sudden,
Sure.
and really just like awkward.
Everyone
about
just
it.
wants to fuck everyone.
Really
like
horny.
Hagrid
The-
and what's her face, and
Olymp or
yeah,
whatever.
like they're fucking
Madame
horny
Maxine.
the whole movie.
Absolutely. Well, it's
Yeah.
because they're two birds of a feather, Gooch.
And
They
then
must
all the
flock
girls
together.
are flocking over Crumb. All the guys are flocking over Fleur.
No, I do think
Yeah.
this is the time in your even teenage years. I feel like where you're like the guys start to get a bit more like, you know, and then, you know, you start to notice things. So I think
Seamus looks at all their ass.
Yes,
we get
absolutely.
a close up of the Bo Battens, you know, their ass.
And I love that scene where
You
I
know.
think you're talking about the same one where he's walking up and they're like, hi. He's like, God damn it, Harry, if you can fight dragons and you can't do this, what the fuck are we going to do?
Yeah.
Or something like that. And it was a really great line. Really
yeah,
good.
and like, you know, they have to ask somebody to the ball, and it's like a big fucking deal. And then Fred's like throws a note at the one girl, and he's like,
Yeah.
Literally does
I'm
like
this movie kind of became like a fucking high school like regular movie for like 20-30 minutes.
Sure.
It really worked. Like
I agree.
I don't know. I really
1000%.
liked the ball. It was like, I don't know. It like, again, like those modern elements kind of like coming into Harry Potter, a
Or-
world that's very not real.
the muggle elements almost. But
Right. And then
they're
like at
everyone's
the
elements.
ball we have the
Traditional, yeah.
band. You know,
The Weird Sisters.
Yeah.
What?
The Weird Sisters.
Is that what the band's
Yeah.
called? Instead of
Yeah.
like Twisted
I have a
Sisters?
fun fact about
They're,
that.
they're
they're
like
a real
in-
band.
No, that's not the same band.
No, but who was the band who played them?
Weird Sisters, apparently.
No, so I don't think it was.
I thought
Because
it was.
they asked Weird Sister to do it, but they didn't want to do it because the name was
Oh,
so
Weird-
close.
Twisted Sister.
And then, hold on, let me see.
Oh,
Weird
okay.
Sisters, I'm
I
pretty
have it
sure
written
is
down
the
here.
As like in world.
right.
That's what I assumed he was talking about.
Twisted Sister is the band that's a real band in real life.
Right.
And I think the band that they got to play them, or they wanted to play them originally, I don't know where this is. I thought maybe I didn't
Well,
copy
let-
it.
There's like Wicked
While
Sister. maybe, or-
you're looking for that, I mean, we're gonna get to
Yeah,
it in
yeah.
the fun facts. Now,
That's
right?
fine. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, like, you know, they have the dance and like they have their the fucking tuxes, but it's dress
robes. Yeah.
And you know the girls, I guess, don't have dress robes. It's well,
Dress.
yeah,
They just wear
Dresses.
dresses.
They
Yeah,
wear
yeah.
dresses.
Gowns, if you will.
Gowns.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I really this whole thing, and like they learn to dance, and it's really awkward with her Ron and fucking McGonagall. Like I don't know, like and like you know when they get up to dance, like all the girls like want to dance, and all the guys are just like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like it's high
Fuck
school,
this.
dude.
No,
Yeah,
like you said, it's very classic high school.
Yeah.
And I think it
I-
works very well.
I
for
like.
sure.
I admittedly laugh out loud every time Ron's trying the robe on, and Harry walks in and he goes, "What are those?" Like he's like fucking mad as shit at him
It's
because
like,
he's
dress
like looks like
robes.
yeah,
This look normal.
it's all right. Or, yeah, something like
Classic
that.
like Weasley trope.
And
for
it's
sure.
funny. I'm like, where's Harry? I guess he has a ton of money. I
Harry's
forget
lo-
about
Harry's-
that. Yeah, he's
Harry's
loaded.
cake.
And he can, as a young adult, he can just access all that.
Yeah, I mean it's his Gringotts fault.
Oh man, they need some more regulatory bodies in the Wizarding world. No, I'm kidding. In
Yeah,
our
he's-
world, we wouldn't be able to get that shit till we're like
And-
18.
And the only thing I did, you know, since we touched on it, Harry asking Cho Chang and Cho Chang going with Cedric, which will Cho Chang, like, you know, first introduction to her, she'll come back in Order of the Phoenix. I don't know how much she's in the rest, but I know she's in Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah, I remember she plays a pretty good
And
part.
she's Hufflepuff, not Ravenclaw? I could have sworn she was Ravenclaw.
Now I think the only Ravenclaw that we
Is Luna?
is Luna that is
Yeah.
like
She's-
relatively.
Cedric's Hufflepuff, right?
Or wait,
He is Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Google it. Cho Chang? I'm sure it'll come up. It's like,
yeah, Luna, because Ravenclaw's like really smart. So
right.
Luna's Hufflepuff. Like you're-
Luna's like the only one I can
Because
think of.
I
off the
think
top of
there's
my
like a
head.
blue in her clothes, and
like, what's
that's
his name?
why I...
Justin Finch Fletchy
Was
or whatever.
sorted into the Ravenclaw house.
I was
Oh, yeah.
right.
Ravenclaw.
I was right.
Yeah. Wait. About what?
Cho Chang.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah, he was
Ravenclaw.
thinking they were Raven. she
I
was
thought. I
Ravenclaw.
think earlier you said she was Hufflepuff.
What's?
Maybe I was wrong, or maybe I misheard.
Oh, I don't even know if I said
I don't think
that.
you
I
said
don't
anything.
know if I said anything
Again,
about
I
her
must have
house.
misheard you.
Because I would have thought Ravenclaw because she's like smart, as I recall.
Right.
But I would have thought Cedric was Ravenclaw too, actually.
No,
but now
he's Hufflepuff.
now
No,
you
he's
say it out
Hufflepuff.
loud, I'm like, fuck. And that's
the two
Yeah.
I'm a
the
fucking fool.
the twins that Harry goes to in the
Quidditch,
book
whatever.
are from, I think, Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw.
One-
but
one
they're
is-
both just they're
One is
both just
Gryffindor, and
One
one is Ravenclaw.
That's, but in the movie they're both
yeah, like
Yes.
Gryffindor.
because
Yeah.
like they're in the
I looked
common
that up
room
because
and-
I was
Yeah.
like, I'm like, who are these characters?
Because I guess they were saying it was supposed to illustrate how different the Sorting Hat could be. Because just because you're
I also
brother and
felt
sister.
bad for the
Right.
four of them as they're fucking like sitting there like not doing anything. I'm like, you guys suck.
Yeah, and I know the
wouldn't
scene
be
of the guy
hanging out
being
with
like,
you.
"Can I take your hand?" And she's like, "You can take whatever the fuck you want." Like, just like get out of here. Yeah,
I'm yours. Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
Very good.
And then we get the first sort of like tension between Ron and Hermione, like at the end of the ball, which we mentioned earlier.
Romantic tension.
Yeah,
They fight all the time.
It's very
But yeah,
funny
yeah.
because it's like if you didn't know where it was going, you probably would never assume that. You would more think Harry's going for Hermione.
Totally.
I'd say before these scenes, yes.
Yeah.
These scenes would be your inkling into going like,
she
oh, they
says,
might be
you're
going
just
in a-
jealous you didn't ask me first. And, like, she was upset that he didn't
No,
ask
exactly.
her.
Well, and that she was the last resort,
Yeah.
of course, too.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
But
and
she
not as a
glosses
last
over it
resort.
real quick, and they don't go back to it. And I like that. Cause,
Yeah.
Because it's like, they drop a seed, but they don't, they're not like, Ron's like, you know what Hermione said to me?
Dude, Ron's such a bitch.
He's such a
cracks me
bitch.
up.
God, he is the worst in this
But-
movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's pretty bad in this movie. He's just,
but in a good way. He's playing
like
what he's supposed to.
He's
Yeah,
just kind of like the pathetic
wears his heart
friend.
on his sleeve, like, but he's like like in the books they do a better job of painting him as like a really good friend. Like
Who's just like who
fiercely
feels like
loyal,
who has
fiercely loyal.
who's genuine reason to
Yeah.
feel like he's being kind of fucked over. No, that makes
Well, and he
sense.
always has like you said, he's
True
not the
Gryffindor.
youngest, but he
Yeah.
has all the older siblings,
He's always
and
How
like
did-
a lot of them are successful or like.
yeah.
How many siblings does he have again? 6 or 5?
No, I thought it was
Bill and Charlie,
What's-
Percy,
Percy.
the twins, Ron, Jenny. They're 1 of 7. I think.
Okay,
Seven.
all right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
interesting. I had another point to say there and I lost it.
Can I jump in?
But
Of
even
course.
like later, like we see stuff later on, like he's always. It feels like he always has like a point to prove himself.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
not
yeah.
like
And again, that
Definitely.
makes
That's kind of like part of his character.
Yeah.
like I said, I see what they're going for here.
The
I do.
opposite of like a chip on his shoulder. He's like always trying to.
He's trying to be the good guy. He's
Yeah.
really, and he felt like this time justifiably to a degree that he
He's also an
being
idiot.
lied to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Totally.
he broke his one last movie. I meant to ask this.
The
Or, I'm
second-
sorry, the
second,
second
yeah.
one. What? Not that you guys will know this. Like, is there a wand repair shop at school? Do you have to go order a new one? I don't even know. How that
You
would
get
go.
Ollivander's. I
Ollivander's,
guess.
so,
Like
yeah.
he did get a new one, if I'm not mistaken.
Can you leave Hogwarts during the school year?
They go home for Christmas,
Okay,
and
yeah,
I don't know if anywhere else, but
Interesting.
you can stay though. Like Harry always stays. Sometimes
What's
Ron
their
stays.
absence policy?
How many days can you
How
be
many days
tardy?
can you miss or
Yeah.
be tardy? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no one ever
interesting.
like misses class.
No, of course.
Before
I mean,
you're
you're
truant,
boarding.
yeah.
What?
Before you're a truant, they're like, yeah,
Yeah, they're like, you have been staying in the common room for the past 3 months.
Yeah,
You
right.
have not come to class.
Just like food.
the head of
everywhere.
house, I guess,
Yeah.
would just walk in and like get your
You
ass
order
down
delivery.
I love it. Is there anything else to talk about before the final?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the Death Eater stuff and like the
Yeah, like
Voldemort of it.
Voldemort's
before-
Oh, no,
Yeah,
that's. I'm
sure,
sorry. That's
I was
what. Yeah,
like-
that's
Right,
what I
right,
mean.
but
So, like,
to
yeah.
tee up, like, we get the nightmare where we see Nagini for the first time. And
Maybe it was the first time.
maybe.
There's always the theory that the snake.
I-
from,
yeah, I don't buy
I don't
that
know.
one.
Oh,
It's
what,
not-
the
I don't
snake
buy it.
yeah, that would
It's
be
not.
weird if she was like.
No.
No,
But
no,
it is-
from
it
the,
is fun
Also,
to be
remember
like-
that's a person.
no, not from the Chamber of Secrets. From
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Prisoner
of
The zoo scene.
Oh,
You
no,
used to
no,
always
from
say
Sorcerer's
from
Stone.
Sorcerer's
Oh,
Stone.
yeah, and it
Oh, yeah.
talks to him.
That's
Yeah,
also
that's
a
not-
person now, right?
Yeah.
Was that always a person?
What?
Nagini?
Nagini. Because in Fantastic Beasts,
Fantastic
it's
Beasts,
found
they
out that she is
established
that
Yeah,
she is
yeah,
a.
yeah,
Oh, it's a girl?
Yeah, it's a woman. It's like, but
Yeah.
it's a
It's not
because
an
they say some
animagus.
people take that transformation permanently, right?
Well,
Yeah.
it's like you're born with it. I think
Okay.
it's you can't always control it, and then you can control or something like that.
Like
you
you can
lose
control for a
the
while, but then you
ability
lose
to
it.
control it.
Interesting.
You
Nagini, the
ultimate-
first name and the last name?
Nagini is like her
Just her
name.
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 It's like Cher.
Beyonce.
Yeah. Or Beyonce. A more
Yeah,
timely
so, and
reference.
you know,
Sure. We
it's
covered all the
Prince.
audience.
where
all the
Yeah.
audience.
Tom,
Prince, yeah.
Tom Riddle's abode. You know, Voldemort's a little sickly
what,
baby
what
guy.
you were saying about Animagus is Rita. We never get
Rita
any.
Skeeter,
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
actually going to mention her too. Yeah.
So
yeah.
she in the books, like she is one.
She's the paper girl?
yeah.
The news reporter.
news reporter?
Yeah.
And her ability to turn to like a little bug.
yellow
I think it's like a
girl.
beetle, right?
Yeah. she's
Oh,
a
like
beetle,
a bug.
yeah.
So she bugs. That's actually
So that's how she
she's
gets all the
hearing
inside scoops, dude.
Because
She
she's
just
just flying along. Like,
literally.
That's really they missed a trick
That's
there.
creative.
I don't know how
Yeah.
they would do that, but I think that would have been a cool reveal that like they're in a room and there's like a fly flies off the wall and she's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. That's cool. That's
no,
really
yeah,
cool.
that's like an important aspect of her character.
I mean, it makes total
Really
sense.
huge.
She
But
gets
yeah, that's-
she gets hers though.
Yeah.
She gets
That's-
hers.
That's
So-
how like she gets like all like the gossip and they're like, how does she?
What? How does she wrap
I mean,
up in
she
this
gets
movie?
what's
Does she get any comeuppance in this movie? I can't remember. I feel stupid.
Not
She
really.
kind of just like phases
She just fades
out.
away, right?
But yeah, the book they do her dirty in the book. In
Oh,
in
really?
A good way. So
She doesn't come back in any of the movies, though, right?
I don't think it as like a
Like, do you
scene
see? I'm
character.
trying. Yeah,
She's still relevant.
sure, but
They
like
could-
she's never up. Like
I
on
can't.
screen
I don't
again.
think she's.
I wouldn't be shocked if there's
later.
like if there's a moment in the one of the later movies where they're looking at a newspaper or something.
And she's there, or it says her name or whatever.
It says her name or something. I feel
Maybe
like I can
she's, like,
picture
in the
that,
book
but it
cover
could
or
be just from
something.
this movie.
Interesting.
I feel like I could picture there's like a moment. In
She
one of the
writes a
movies.
book down the line. but,
Gotcha.
like, I can't remember if she's actually in it or if it's just Rita Skeeter.
Makes sense. Yeah, she's a piece of shit. Really
Yeah.
kind of, and it's funny how like that stuff,
Yeah.
you know, the shitty journalist angle never really
Yeah.
kind of goes away. Like,
Like,
that still is relevant.
I
now.
guess just I'll tell you. So Hermione actually traps her in a glass jar and like keeps her, like imprisons Rita
For
Skeeter
life.
in her bug form. I don't know how she keeps her that way. If it's like you can't. I don't know, but
she can't turn. Oh my
she
god,
like
that's pretty hilarious.
because she's like this will teach you to make things up about people. and
yeah,
report
that's
them.
amazing. And that does that happen?
Like Hermione does.
yeah,
that,
bitch. You fucking bitch.
and just keeps her.
When does that
hostage.
happen in the later books or
No,
or
like
within
that.
this
I
book?
think it's this book.
I think it is.
I'm pretty sure. I think it's this book. I don't know.
Interesting.
They never do it in a movie, but I think it's this book.
Again, I think they missed a trick.
And
with that one.
she's an illegal animagus, which is actually
so
what
she's not. That's why no. Okay.
that's what all like the Marauders were
Yeah.
as well, like Sirius and James Potter,
Yeah.
Lupin and Wormtail. They're all unregistered.
unregistered. That they mentioned
Which
that
is
in
illegal.
Prisoner of Azkaban,
What
right?
Yeah.
Like that's a
fucking
no-no.
Mutants? What they'd be
Yeah,
registered?
so they are born that way, or is that a
No,
spell they cast on
like,
themselves?
It's like a what would you call it? A ritual or
Sure.
something, like
Okay.
something like that. You have to like go through.
what animal would
processes.
you guys turn into?
Something like a fly.
Dude, I think I'd want to fly.
I do
Yeah.
like the bug
Yeah.
things, but like, what if someone smushes you?
Yeah, like a
I'll be
bird.
like
I wouldn't wanna
Sirius.
be a
I'll be
bug.
the wolf. That's on brand.
I think a
Sirius is
bird would be
dope.
cool, like a hawk
Yeah, hawk.
or like an
I'll just
owl.
be the wolf.
An eagle or something.
An eagle.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe
Or
an
like a
owl because you can
fucking-
like really see very
A
well.
sick owl that like
Owls are really
Yeah.
dumb though.
is a beast.
I don't know.
Can attack.
Like,
Probably
like that
fly.
owl that delivers letters to Harry that
That
like,
bites him.
Yeah, that bites him.
Have you
In
guys
this,
ever
right?
looked up stuff on like the carrier pigeons from World War One? It's fucking nuts.
No, but
how
I
much
don't-
shit they did.
I
Like
don't
how
really know
smart
how that
those
stuff
were.
works.
Dude, it blows my. I don't even.
don't
I
get
watched
it.
like a YouTube video on it, and I still don't understand how it works.
You basically teach them their home.
Yeah.
And its purpose is to bring things to that home.
Yeah,
So,
but
like,
if
can
you're
take
always
it wherever.
moving, does it
No.
always just go back to the
So it's like
same-
home base. Like you would train them to fly back to command, wherever command is permanently set up, and then they'll always find it. It's like you take the thing
Nuts.
from its home, and it's always kind of like it's locked
Yeah.
up.
Like
and then you tie
it
something
blew
to it,
my
and it
mind
will
how
go fine.
reliable it
Yeah.
was. Like it's so.
Yeah, almost.
It's insane.
I think they have like crazy like magnetic sphere
Yeah,
things
yeah.
going on.
Oh,
Yeah, wild shit.
shoot! Remind me before we get to the end. And another like the classic like big change in this movie from the books is the moment when Dumbledore like confronts Harry.
Yeah.
I think that is the most memed thing out of all.
Yeah,
the,
I
Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
the reason I was bringing up the Voldemort of it because I wanted to talk about like what's the thing where he pulls his memories out.
The pensieve.
So is when he
The
pulls it
tank
out,
is a
does he
pensieve.
forget it and store it,
I
or is it just like this is my memory? I'm gonna put it in this thing.
I don't think you forget it.
Okay.
I
don't
don't
know if
think you
it's-
forget it.
I don't know if they explicitly say it, but I don't think you because you'd be like, what the fuck is all
They'd
this
be like,
stuff?
what's
Right,
the-
right.
I mean,
Because he
Like,
does
yeah.
talk. He talks about the trial that what's the headmaster for Drumstrang's name?
Karkaroff.
Yeah, he's a Death Eater.
I did not realize that was him in the flashback.
Yeah.
For this
Yeah.
entire
Ah.
time
Really?
until this viewing, I had no idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt like such a fucking idiot.
But
yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think you forget it because
He just wouldn't know.
I mean, he
what-
talks about it. Like,
yeah, because then he has a
but like he's
conversation about
literally
it.
pulling it out of his head.
Yeah,
So
'cause
like,
It seems like more of a viewer. That
Yeah.
thing I have a lot of
Yeah.
issues with because I feel like it ruined. Like, no one believes Harry's real. They could easily pull out his memory and show that to people, like especially
Wait,
like
what do you mean?
like
He's
for, especially in the next one. It's this whole big
I
thing
get
about
you.
how
I
Harry
get you.
can't. They can't prove that that Voldemort exists.
Don't
or
get,
whatever.
don't get it too out of here.
Did you already
No, I know.
watch the next one yet?
No,
Okay.
no. Well, I mean, I've of course seen it, but like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the. But I just remember that's the specific thing I remember after as a result of this
like, there's
movie.
got to
is
be
that-
a way to prove this.
Yeah, like it's like I
Like,
feel
he's not
that's
back.
a
I know what
yeah,
you mean.
like, you know,
That's
and-
a really good point. I never actually thought.
Like
of
you
It's
could just
just
be
like-
like, all right, well, come here. We can see if he's lying. Pull it out.
Yeah.
Like drop it in. That thing presents a
Yeah,
few
it's
plot
a,
issues
it's
for
a,
me.
what-
I
it's
guess.
a what's the word for things like
Not
that?
a MacGuffin,
Loophole?
but
Plot
it's like
hole.
Like a
it's a
plot
plot
hole?
up
It's
to
a plot
a
hole.
to
It's
a
a plot
degree.
hole.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
I
but
guess-
it's like
plot-
something
it's a
that
plot
like
hole.
Again, it's not something,
there-
but
There's like
it's-
branches of magic that they're more relevant in later movies that like he could potentially hide his memory. I don't know if that would affect the drawing it out,
Sure.
like occlumency and like legilimens and all that stuff. Like that's like the whole deal with Barty Crouch. Is like anyone, even Dumbledore, couldn't figure him out because he's got an ability to like, throw you off with trying to read his mind. And all
Interesting.
that. So I don't know if that would.
And he escaped Azkaban, right?
Who?
Barty Crouch Jr.
Yes,
Without anyone
but
noticing.
He. So correct me if I'm wrong.
David
when
Tennant,
he comes,
fucking great in this movie, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
So weird with his little tongue flick.
I think his mother was dying. I think Barty Crouch Sr. is involved in this. I think the mother was dying and she wanted to go see him. So they bring her in and like she dies and the Dementors can't tell who it is apparently, which is weird. But so she dies at Azkaban visiting him and they swap him for her, leave her dead body there, and he takes him out. The senior takes Junior out, and then they like bury a body. It's Barty Crouch Senior's wife, Junior's mother, and then I don't know what happens. Like I don't know why.
But Barty Crouch Sr. is he's a
I
party
think
to
I think
it? Like,
he's party to it, but I could be wrong about that. But the mother
so he was
is
assuming
swapped.
like but he didn't know that he had to assume the role.
I thought
of,
his.
what's his
No,
name?
no, like he didn't know.
He just assumed
No,
he
his-
got away
might
and
have
left.
His
Yeah.
intention wasn't for like Junior to come out and do the
Right.
scheme. He just like wanted his son.
Son,
I think it was
Free.
yeah, like
Yeah,
I,
he
I
wanted
think
free
I
stuff.
think
Yeah,
the
no, that makes
mother
sense.
was like it was like dying wish type thing.
Sure.
Like let him
Let him-
give him a
let him-
chance.
give him a chance,
And I
yeah.
think he's like fuck you and cheesed it and
Sure.
just did whatever he did, which
Gotcha.
we all know.
Right.
All right, that makes
But
sense.
yeah, it's pretty interesting,
Interesting.
like that background story, how he got out. You know,
Yeah.
not just an escape, but
I have another
A
question,
ruse, yeah.
plot wise, and I feel like it's probably been asked to death. Why didn't he just make something else a portkey?
What do you mean?
For like Harry
Like
to
to
touch.
transfer Harry there. Like, why did he have to get him through this whole thing to get to the end to grab the Goblet of Fire to then portkey him there? Why couldn't he have just given him, here's a shoe, Harry, catch, what? And then he,
Well, that wouldn't be a very good movie, now, would it?
That's just one thing.
I feel like there might be an
there
explanation for
has
this.
to
I'm
be a
just trying to
reason.
think.
I would assume, catch this ball, Harry.
I'm thinking.
Oh.
I'm thinking something along the lines of an object of power, but I know it's not it.
Yeah, because
Like,
And I
don't-
get
I
maybe
don't
it's
know
like
if
maybe it's a
anything
specific
can
night
become a
thing that
portkey.
like he need.
Like
Well,
we had
the-
the later Portkey in Deathly
it's a boot.
Hallows.
The boot in the beginning.
Like
Is
they,
just
they
a
do.
boot.
I think they say anything can be a port.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
He
that would make
literally-
He's like
Yeah.
it's a dirty mangy boot, and he's like it's a portkey though. It's like okay.
Did I
But
just
it's a
ruin the movie
fucking
for you,
dirty
gentlemen?
No, I feel like there's something. Like maybe it's something like you can't.
But like I get that the night maybe he wants him there that specific night. That makes sense to me. But
there's-
Yeah, because it is.
It could be a
it is
timing thing.
timed for that. That
Yeah.
he's like, hey, like we're gonna do it this night, and I'm gonna revive you. Maybe Wormtail doesn't have all the things yet. You
It
know,
just-
he hasn't like he clearly like he gets all this shit, and it takes him what like a year to
that's
do
what
that.
I mean. So like that's why I guess
Yeah, it's almost anything. Kevin.
that's what I thought. So that's
Yeah.
it's like
Literally almost
it,
anything.
it might be the like you can't. Like magic might prevent the grounds of Hogwarts. Like maybe the maze is outside of like the conventional grounds. And it's an
That I
area
could
where it can
buy.
go. I don't
That would make
know,
sense
but
a
I'm
little
trying to
bit
think
more.
of like
Yeah, where are they in terms of the ground?
they're. I think it's the Quidditch field, like stadium
like
area or
turned
something. Like
into-
they convert it
Right,
into
right, that would-
But
that
the
would-
maze is huge. I'm pretty sure. Or maybe it's contained in just like ever evolving.
yeah.
So I really didn't answer that question.
I mean, I
Feels
think
like
I
I'm,
did.
like, tripping
You're
over
just
myself.
you're kind of just like, hey, like this is what I think. You know, like it makes
trying to
sense that would be
remember- like, I think they
hey,
tell
we
you.
use part
They-
of the Quidditch area
Yeah.
to do this
They
seating.
they do tell you like where it is. I think they got rid
I just
of
thought
the
about
Quidditch
Filch
seating.
fucking jogging up and
yeah.
his premature cannon fires everything.
We'll begin on the count of 3. Bang!
All right, I guess
Rocks the
we're-
whole thing.
Yeah,
the
it was like,
mast, yeah.
woo.
But I'm gonna have to find an answer for that
because I'm kind of
as
looking.
to why.
That was just
'cause
one thing I always thought about at the end. I'm like, but why did he need to get that as the portkey? And I'm trying to look at it right now.
Yeah, anything can be. I thought it was. I thought it was like it had to have like.
No, yeah, like
Maybe
'cause I
it is
remember
just
that-
the night.
connection
Maybe they
to-
needed the time to get the ritual ready,
Yeah.
and you know,
It could be that.
I did have a question of like, why is Voldemort like a baby alien thing? Like, what's the deal?
So when I was reading into this a little bit because like there's some things that I like forget or like don't know if I ever really looked into, but like when you come back from like a Horcrux, I think they say that there was like one person before Voldemort that ever even did it,
Okay,
and then he does it 7 times. So like
Yeah.
when you come,
so he's a very
back-
he's a very withered. He's
Yeah,
only
like-
1/8 of himself basically,
but
or whatever.
I don't know if I think there's something like it happens and it ties like part of your soul to the earth. Like your body's ruined, so you don't just like come back in your body. Is what I think I like read about it, and so they had to go and find. I don't even know how they really like. I don't know. They never say what the magic is that. Other than the actual act where it's, blood bone taken from the father and willingly
all that jazz,
serve it, willingly, all that. Whatever that is, that creates a body, I guess. But like, I don't think that when you come back from being killed in your physical form, that you like automatically go into a body. So I don't know what the baby thing is, because he was like a spirit floating around.
And then he almost
possessing.
conjured
I think it
himself
was just like
into this
sort of just to like represent that he was
in a very
weak.
withered, weak
Yeah.
state.
But I forget how he like turns into that.
Yeah, like how does that come to be?
Yeah.
Right.
That
Yeah.
could be a possessed form too. I don't.
That's
really,
what I was thinking. Like, did they have another like weird baby? They put him in like I don't like something
'Cause
real
he-
dark.
Right, or they did like some sort of half-assed
'Cause-
thing just to hold him, and then
medium, yeah.
it's like, Wormtail's going to be like, all right, well, I'm going to get the real thing ready. And by the way, where does Tom Riddle live exactly?
Probably
Where-
England. Somewhere, I don't know.
They tell you the town in the
Right,
I
because
forget
like
what
that's
it
a pretty
is.
elaborate fucking gravestone they got there.
No.
Yeah, they
It's pretty grim.
They were like well-to-do. His family, like
I mean,
were,
he's got a pretty big.
I think his
ass
dad.
house.
They had like a.
Were
It's a
both
crazy
of his
history.
parents Muggles? Or was only one?
It looks like they live
his
in a Muggle
mom-
town.
His dad was a Muggle. His mom was a witch,
Yeah. Okay.
and there's like history there. Like
'Cause that
that's the
groundskeeper
sixth.
is a
I might
Muggle.
legitimately read the sixth book before we get to the.
Genuinely, these have been making me want to actually try to sit down
I have
and
all.
read
Of
the
them. You can
books.
borrow them anytime. I have all.
I
of
might
them.
take
They're
you up on
awesome,
that.
dude.
Books with me are last one I read was Dune, and that was the first book I've read for fun in maybe 10 years. I'm not even kidding. It's so bad.
Dude.
I need to really like. I would
Yeah,
like to.
Did you
actually-
audio
You got to
book
pick
it?
and choose.
No, I actually fully read
Audiobook's
that.
not a bad idea.
No,
too,
audiobooks
but-
are good, but the issue I find with
You just stop paying
audiobooks,
attention.
I stopped paying it. They're good for me in a car ride, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
whereas podcasts, I feel like you can kind of tune in and out.
Yeah.
But there are
Just
some
naturally.
really great Star Wars audiobooks with some like amazing voice acting and stuff like that.
That's cool when they put the effort
and-
into production.
Yeah,
values
absolutely.
Is
there, yeah.
Voldemort's vat unicorn blood?
No.
What's in there? Like what's the
I
liquid?
don't know.
Because
You
I was
don't
like,
know the
it's
exact
unicorn
ingredients,
blood,
Casey?
because that's
Come
what
on.
he needed in the
No,
first
I didn't
one.
come prepared for that.
I like that idea. I think that's kind of cool.
To me, that makes
Yeah.
sense. But it's it's the the bone of his dad.
His
Harry's
blood.
Taken
blood.
unwillingly, servant's hand given.
I thought unwillingly was the bone, right?
Unwillingly,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I misspoke. Willingly, servant's flesh, and then blood taken forcefully from the enemy or
The
something.
enemy,
Is
Yeah,
what they say.
which is Harry.
And then
And
does
Cedric's
it.
dead at this point.
Cedric's dead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cedric
he gets killed almost immediately as they go.
Like
through
he has
the
no
portal.
idea what happened.
Yeah, he's like,
and
"What the
why."
fuck?"
Like,
And then they're like, "Kill the spam."
yeah.
Yeah, he uses the what? How do you say it? Avada
Avada
Kedavra.
Kedavra, the killing curse. Yeah,
Kedavra,
Avada
yeah.
Kedavra.
That whole wand core thing is very important too. Like that, the wands connecting when they're doing battle. Like,
I kind of like the effect, like
Yeah, it's cool.
how they do it in the movie. Like it looks like
Crazy.
liquid. is
Yeah, it's
kinda-
like plasma
Yeah.
almost
Right,
coming
yeah,
off it.
It's a cool effect how they decided to do the battle.
and where they meet, like, it looks like when you strike an arc welding. Like the
know
sparks
what
coming
you-
off
yeah.
of it, like the contact, it's crazy.
It's
like,
a very
it's
cool
pretty
effect.
Cool, yeah, I didn't know how to picture
I
it.
gotta give a shout out to Ray Fiennes. He
I mean,
is fucking Voldemort.
His
man. And he's
introduction
Yeah.
itself
like
is amazing.
his mannerisms and like the way he kind of moves and like how he talks to Harry and like especially when they're like going to duel
very-
and he's like we're gonna do the like official bow.
Get
bow.
up, get up.
Bow.
The way
Yeah.
he's like, you're right though, but the way he's like doing his movements, he's like, get up, get up. And
Surely they taught you,
it's
yeah.
so good. Yeah,
Yeah.
he is amazing. And just that whole introduction of him kind of coming to form and like, he opens his eyes and he has the snake eyes for a second and
Yeah,
then he blinks
yeah.
and they're back to the normal ones. Like, which is, I know the snake eyes are in the book, right? Doesn't he have
it's
like red
his,
snake eyes, like permanent eyes? Yeah.
He's got crazy eyes.
Does he look very much is he described this way
It's a
for
pretty
the most
good
part in the book though?
It's
No
like
nose.
it's an acceptable like
Translation?
yeah.
I guess the
yeah.
nose is really the only like shocking part about it. Like he's just alien looking guy, but like he doesn't have a fucking nose at all.
Yeah.
All right, so this is an interesting tidbit on port keys.
I've seen him. I have been watching.
curious.
He's kind of looking up over
Yeah,
here.
I happen to.
Shout out to Michael Song on Quora right
Dude,
now.
Cora is the best for this kind of stuff.
He said,
God.
when we are first introduced to port keys in HP4 in Goblet of Fire, they're officially transport points set up by the Ministry for the Triwizard Tournament. Then Mad Eye, who's actually Barty Crouch Jr., turns the cup into a port key. Then in the next book, Dumbledore sends Harry to Hogwarts. Oh, sorry. spoilers. Another one is made, and then Fudge stammers to Dumbledore, you can't just go around making port keys without permission. So, to answer your question, yes, anyone can make a port key, but
it's
they
like
need
illegal.
permission from the ministry to
illegal.
do so.
But
Gotcha.
even but he didn't get permission. For the,
So
I
that's
don't know
another
if-
thing. Like
did
he
Fudge
wouldn't need.
just
He- so that's
catch
a-
him?
so, I mean, that's like-
I can't remember what it had. Like, does Fudge see Dumbledore make the port key, and that's how he knows, or is it like?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, dude,
In the ministry.
so
Yeah.
that's what it
Yeah.
seems like. They don't. There's no way to. You
can't
just have to
track
be
it.
like, hey, I'm making a port key, or you can do one quietly.
Right.
So that really doesn't
the
kind of.
spell portus. He used the spell portus.
Yeah.
So that's really not really fixing that for me.
Is that when he sends him to school from?
Yeah.
Because he can't apparate or
Mhm.
disapparate. Yeah.
He's like leaning on a statue or whatever, and he just turns that into a portus.
And then yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything to say about the Voldemort before we get to the end where they come back and my boy, that's my boy.
Nah.
It's not supposed
Yeah,
to.
just
really, honestly.
we'll talk about it later too. The wands connecting is like important.
Yeah.
They gloss
For
over it.
for
the,
later?
the whole yeah.
For the
Because
next
no,
movie,
Harry
yeah.
does say to Dumbledore that he's like our
was a
wands
moment.
connected
Connected in a
yeah.
weird way. Yeah.
And they Dumbledore like they really like sometimes in the movies undersell him like the whole he just goes priori incantatum and then doesn't explain like
Right,
anything.
yeah, he does.
And just keeps
very under
moving.
his breath.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and then really that's like there's an actual spell that in the beginning with we'll talk about this offline because it's a loud Winky and like when they
Yeah.
so like you can see the previous spells cast from a wand with a spell like so like auras could like trying to prove
browsing
something
history.
So they take
Yeah.
Interesting.
yes exactly
Make sure
So if
you
someone
did-
used the killing curse or any curse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
he-
So like if
and
you
he-
committed a crime.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like this was your wand. Like it might not necessarily say who did it, but like it shows what
Shows
was
that your
cast.
wand was used to commit the
Yeah,
crime.
yeah.
Like it
so-
just somebody can use
It's
my
like
computer and go
that
some,
is priori
some sites.
incantatum, but like the way Dumbledore used it also.
Wait, I'm sorry. What is
priori incantatum?
That's what he says
like,
under his
like
breath.
Is what allows
incantation.
him to
That's like the
see
spell
what the.
that you would cast to like see what comes out on wand. I'm pretty sure.
So that's. But then
So he
why did he? So he's
does
saying
that?
that their
So when
wands
their
connecting
wands
caused
connected, like. And the bodies start like it's basically like his parents. Cedric comes out because he just killed him.
that. Sure.
Harry's parents come out next,
Oh,
or
because
Frank
they-
comes out next, and he had killed him before that.
So it holds
Frank
the
is
memories of the
landscape.
people that you killed as
No,
well.
no, it's
or not
like-
necessarily. Or
It's not really. It just would show like normally that happened with that wand, but like because of the connection between Harry and
It causes
Voldemort's
those to
wand, it's like a more intense
cause a connection to basically the people he's
Yeah,
killed.
it's like
in that way.
unprecedented.
Not, not just Harry and Voldemort like have a connection because they're set up.
Yeah.
Like it's even down to their wands.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do remember that. whole big thing.
Coincidentally,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's even
or
down to the-
prophecy.
Yeah,
or
like
whatever.
it's-
yeah. Interesting. He doesn't have the.
No,
we'll
not
go-
yet.
Yeah. Okay.
I do have a question. So the Death Eaters that show up, Crabbe and Goyle's dads.
McNair.
Who is McNair?
He's the executioner that was gonna kill Buckbeak.
Oh,
No
really?
shit.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he says, I'm like, McNair. I'm like, who the fuck is
Yeah.
McNair? Like,
And they're like more common in the books that you hear about, like
sure,
the names
sure.
and all that. I don't know
And
if
then
up until that point.
Malfoy.
But yeah.
And that's it?
I think there's some
Obviously,
there's some
Bellatrix
no
is-
names there too.
there-
that they
Bellatrix
don't-
Lestrange is in Azkaban.
She's in
right?
Azkaban, but I think
Yeah.
the husband's there in the book, right?
Um,
Frank or no, he's
because he
dead.
doesn't take
Isn't he
everyone's
dead?
mask off, or he doesn't. He
husband's
like kind of
dead.
takes
the
everyone's
husband
mask off, but doesn't
he's
name
dead,
that.
and
Yeah.
but there's
McNair, Crabbe, Malfoy, no names, a couple. But
Yeah, McNair was
oh,
the one
what's
that
his
was like.
Greyback's there?
yeah,
Greyback.
that's what I was
yeah.
thinking of.
Who's
Yeah,
Greyback? Sounds like a
He's
racist slur.
a like werewolf.
yeah.
Death Eater.
You'd recognize him. You see him.
I think
later
we
on.
talked about he's the one who.
Yes, we did.
Did we?
Yeah, you brought him up. Now you say
Oh,
it.
the werewolf dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy who turned. What's his name?
Lupin. Yeah.
Lupin.
Yeah.
He was like a
You did
kid,
mention
yeah.
that. Interesting.
So he's there, and then a couple other.
And then
But it's very like, it is very what's the right way to put it? A lot of some I guess Death Eaters like
Get-
didn't return like saw it and
they-
were afraid to
so
like
when,
return,
when Barty
yeah.
Crouch puts it in the sky at the world,
That's a
World
call
Cup,
to everyone.
Right,
a
their
call to them.
tattoo
Yeah.
gets all
Yeah,
funky.
that was like every
They
time
gotta go see a doctor.
they would kill somebody and do crazy stuff and like that. They would cast that as like a terror thing. But when I don't know if it's all of them, but when Voldemort like touches a dark mark, it's a summon. Like you drop what you're doing, you go right then and there to where he is. So when they don't show up, like some of them don't show up the night in the
So
graveyard.
if you still have that tattoo, you're a Death Eater.
Once Death Eater, always Death
like
Eater,
Snape
man.
has it.
So he still does have his, but obviously he's not a Death.
But Snape's the best character in the movie.
Yeah,
So
you never
in the
What is
series.
Oh, you mean that piece of shit?
That's why Karkaroff's like mine is like he's showing
Right,
Snape,
and
but you don't
they
see
show
Snape.
it real quick.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
I
I don't
like
know if
that
that would
scene.
still be like a mark of like, no, you got to get rid of that, you fucking asshole.
I
What
don't
are you
think-
doing?
I don't
And
think
that's
it
so
can.
that makes more.
Yeah,
That's what I
it's
would have
like
thought.
a-
Now.
I don't really know that.
It's probably
like,
a magical mark that you literally
I don't really
can't.
know what
Yeah, you just
that.
go to a tattoo remover.
The wizard tattoos are
They're
like,
at like a muggle tattoo thing,
Yeah.
and he's like, it's
I'm
not
gonna
coming
bet
off.
that's permanent. Like
No, that makes sense.
No,
Interesting.
but like it was also it's interesting. I guess in the sense of like Voldemort's also getting an idea of like, all right, those who came back like right away, those are like
Those are my good guys.
those are my
yeah.
loyal ones, you know.
Those are the real
Yeah.
ones.
He's still got like the highest, like none of you came in. So like he's still gonna bitch them out.
Yeah.
But, like you came back. All right,
But you're at least here right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Makes sense.
There's levels to the disappointment.
All right, gentlemen, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The hierarchy of the magical KKK. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's funny
pretty
how
much what they
clearly
are.
obviously
it
as a
is.
child it's so clearly alluding to.
Yeah, with the hood.
Yeah, with the hood
It's
now.
it's more. Yeah,
It's a I know. I mean, it's based. What do you,
I
what do you
think
mean?
they're more comparable like Nazis.
Yeah, but they have the KKK
I guess
symbolism.
It is supremacy.
Yeah, but I
like,
think it's
either
kind of
way.
just like because it's like
I mean,
what
they're
wear.
essentially the same thing.
I was gonna say I feel like Nazis, KKK.
They're all in the same box.
Yeah, but I think like they're like
They're more organized and more-
the
they're
extremity of
fascists and
the
supremacists.
I get what
extremity
you
of
mean.
what they like do is like
Or,
on a
like
scale
the
of
reach
Nazis.
of their power, maybe.
Yeah.
Even, that makes more sense. I see what you
KKK is
mean.
like
Where KKK is an organization, whereas the Nazi regime was like a regime. It was like an
a
actual
government,
powerful
like-
government.
like
Yeah.
Voldemort's like the Hitler of wizards.
So Cedric Diggory is our first death, right? Besides Quirrell, I don't
on
really
screen,
count
I
him.
guess so. Yeah.
He's our first good guy death.
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
That was
which
sad.
is pretty wild.
No, and that scene was
You know,
pretty
we're
rough
form-
with him coming back.
We're 4 movies in, nobody's died, and I mean, like
that.
even Quirrell's death is sort of brushed over. Like you don't really care that he died.
Is Quirrell the guy from Sorcerer's Stone who turns
Yes.
into ash?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody died.
I still watch it. Whenever I watch that scene, I'm like, dude, just leave now. Like, it's one of those movie scenes where like you can't
You could
change
just-
it.
you
You know
can-
you can't
yeah.
change it, but
Yeah.
you're like, dude, you could just like get the portkey right now and get the fuck
Just
out.
get out of
like,
there, yeah.
every
Like-
time.
yeah.
That it
man.
hurts. To your point, like that one
I
was
feel like they
damn.
also like took they took a risk on like thinking that it's gonna instantly transport them back to where they came from if they touch it. Because there's like
Absolutely.
well, I also just read about it, but I think there's like one way and there's like
similar.
and there's like
One-way
time
portkeys
there's like
or time
yeah, and there's like
porkeys or-
time
yeah.
porkies and shit.
right.
It's like if they grabbed it and
Okay.
there's like fuck.
Are these the pond, like that, like the porky thing? In the moment, I wasn't thinking about it, so I got to give them credit in the way of I accepted that when I watched the movie, and it didn't injure my thought process on it. But it is those are the things that I think back, and even for fun that I just have with Harry Potter. Of like, there aren't necessarily questions I want answers to, but like, well,
Sure.
why is that the way that
You can't
is? Or
help
like,
it, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I think also like some elements of it. Another element could be like if like Harry just. It's obviously like on a big stage in a dangerous tournament per se. So like say Harry, you know, they're not
I
seeing
was
what's
reading
really
that-
going on within the maze.
One exclamation I saw was less conspicuous.
Yeah.
That like it looks less like that he did something or what's
Mm-hmm.
it like it looks like who knows some, but he did place the port key because that obviously seems to be how they come
You're really
upon
hung
him
up about this.
by
aren't
the
you?
end. I am.
I don't really
I
care
am.
all that
Anywho.
much.
I think it's,
Yeah.
I think
No,
it's
but
like
that
a-
was my point. My
I
last
usually
point was just
don't
like,
get hung up about stuff like that. I got
Gooch, but
I
you
would
do,
argue,
you do
dude. Are
when
you
you
kidding
care about
me?
the thing.
What do
Yeah.
I get hung up about?
a bunch of shit, dude.
in Marvel movie. No,
Come on,
Gooch, unless it's something you really like, you will sit there.
yes.
I
Pick it
like
up.
Harry. I just.
Well,
I,
no, well, if it's something you're passionate about that you don't like that version of like Marvel vs. DC, you will pick that thing to shreds and look for all this.
I don't know. I like, but no. I
That's like one of the things you used to
with-
say that would
even
annoy
with
me.
plot holes in movies, I really don't think I like care. all
When
that
Gooch
much.
would say this to me, it would be the most annoying thing on earth. He's like, "You're thinking about it too much. You're thinking too hard about it." That's not what it. I'm just sitting there watching the movie, and if it occurs to me in the movie, that's the sign of something bad.
I'm gonna
Whereas
find
that's
you.
not something. The porky stuff
Yesterday,
that didn't
that
occur to
was
me as
like-
I was watching.
I'm gonna find you an answer for that.
No, I want it.
Why
I want
was
it.
that. I'm gonna.
I love that I stumped you guys
we'll
finally
come
with
back.
one. I feel like there have been a few
For-
where you've had really good answers
for like
me,
why it
and
had
that's-
to be the whole. Why not just take him?
I think it was like the
I would say
spectacle.
it probably is the timing.
Because it makes for
But
a
even
good
with the
story.
timing,
I know,
buys-
I know.
You
buys
are
them
running.
the
You are
time.
running the chance of
But
someone else
she's
getting
like
to
very
that.
well thought out. So I'm like, there has to be a fucking reason she did that. Like everything stacks up. in
Well,
these
she
books and
introduced
movies.
Porky's in this book as well. So
Right.
it's like that was
They
probably
didn't exist until now.
yeah, it was probably like
Maybe in that it was some type of thing of only certain things could be made into Porky's, like at that time.
it
But
was
then
probably her idea. Like she's like, oh, she had the idea for the Triwizard Tournament. She's like, oh, imagine if they like got transported
culmination.
somehow to
Yeah.
here, and it's like, all right, how am I gonna get there? And
Can
then she
you
was
guys-
like, if there are 4 kids who are bitching about this and 15 years after this movie comes out,
Can you
Probably
JK,
20 years
JK,
after the
it doesn't make
kids.
any sense.
4 kids.
God damn it! All right,
Can you
that's all I'm
guys
saying.
remember what you thought was gonna happen in the third
That's
half?
the,
Like,
see, that's
no
the thing.
That's what I'm
fucking idea.
curious
It's so
about.
far
like,
back. This is a franchise
Did
I
we
would
see
love
this
to be able
together?
to erase
I think
my
so.
memory
I saw
and
it
watch
in
it.
theater.
wait, what?
before.
What you thought was gonna happen in the third movie?
Like, yeah, what did you think was gonna happen? Because the whole movie, it's
Or
like,
even the
it's
reveal of
like, there's
Moody.
nothing. There's there's the Voldemort in my dreams and all that, but like, there's really no solid like
What's is gonna happen?
him.
Like,
there's no we're on track to meet Voldemort.
Right.
I agree.
Like,
And
it's
then
not
all of a
definitely like a
sudden,
fuck. This is happening
The
type of thing.
Portkey,
oh no,
and
for
then
a
it's like
lot,
real
for a lot of
mysterious.
it, it's like, oh, like the Triwizard. You think like it's gonna almost be
like a break from the chaos.
Yeah, like a
or
break from the
yeah,
chaos.
yeah.
This
So
story.
that's what I mean. I'm like, because you gotta, in a way, looking back, like like something's gotta happen. But like I can't remember like what I mean, I read the book, but like I can't remember what people thought about it when it happened.
To put it
so.
in terms of like you're saying, like the Triwizard Tournament is a break from the plot. Honestly, the Triwizard Tournament is a break from the formula, if anything, for these movies. Because the Triwizard Tournament really just takes over the whole plot.
Yeah.
It's not like a regular school year at all.
But even I feel like the other ones do the same. Like at
No,
least less
I-
so than the first one. But like
I think all the ones before, like they're pretty focused. Like they're not. The school year is kind of like going on as normal.
sure.
There just happens to be shit going down every year. This year, it's like, no, this thing is like totally enveloped the year. Like,
This is all we're doing. Yeah.
We're not really focusing on normal classes. Like, it's all about the Triwizard.
And
And even
they
if it-
are going to class like normal.
Right,
Exactly.
but they don't show.
That is the funny-
Exactly.
They choose not to show it.
Like it's funny. I
and
forgot
like
they
all the
had
other
those.
students are doing the same, like from other schools.
Right.
Yeah.
Like even me, I definitely feel like the school. I would agree with that, Gooch. Even me, kind of asking like, were there classroom scenes this time around? Like they definitely didn't
There's
stick
one.
out to me as
I'm trying
much.
to
Yeah.
think I feel like maybe half Blood Prince is probably where they show the most classroom stuff in
yeah.
the movies.
Because it like matters for
Yeah.
potions and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely.
Because they do like they have like they're going
Chapters
to
of
they're
class.
going to class in the book. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And of course you have time
I'm
within
not
the
saying
narrative
they're
to do
not
that, yeah.
going to class, but they chose to deviate.
I agree with if it feels less present to me at least.
Right.
The
And,
but I
classroom
think-
stuff.
and it feels nice.
And
that
that's
you're
not a bad
watching.
thing. Yeah, no, that's not.
Yeah.
I think it's fine what
You know,
they
imagine-
did like stepping away from the classroom
Imagine
stuff.
No,
if,
totally.
If, if
No,
these
I
movies
agree.
were all back to back to back classes, like you just get bored of it.
No, of
over
course.
time.
They-
So
they-
they
they
have
fi-
to delineate.
They
and
found a
be
very
like,
good
did like a
balance.
series on each.
I can't wait to go to fucking class
I
in
think that
Hogwarts
would
Legacy.
be
God damn it, that's what I'm
Yes,
excited
true.
for. Gentlemen, are we ready to discuss some fun facts?
I did want to say one more thing.
Okay. Yeah.
I like how Hermione goes. Where this is never going to be the same. The movie kind of ends on that somber
sure.
note of
No,
like,
yeah.
I have
this
to
is
say-
this is where the boulders start and roll down the hill.
I agree. Like the sentiments. I thought that was such a corny line.
I
And
agree.
I always have. But
Oh, I like
but
it.
it is. She's not
It is-
like it's the truth. Like
Yeah,
the way
it's
the
the
series
truth.
is. But like I always
Feels a bit on the
that
nose.
line starts. I know it's coming, and I always remember it. And I don't cringe, but like almost. Like
It
I'm
is-
like
it's corny. It is corny, but I like it.
she's
it's-
like hanging back or whatever. Like she's
It's
like,
like it's all
be the
going to
same.
change,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yep.
she's right.
Harry's like, fuck
Hermione's
yeah, it is.
foresight. She's always the prepared one.
Now let's
Who
go
would've
home.
thought? All right, gentlemen, some fun facts here. We'll start with a little stuff on the director. Mr. Mike Newell, the director, was not aware Alan Rickman wore black contact lenses for the role of Snape until one day he was complimenting him on his amazing shade of his eyes. Rickman then leaned over and popped out one of his lenses. Apparently, he wears like
He wears
very dark
contacts?
contact
I
lenses.
guess
yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
He does look like I think the last thing I saw him in.
I didn't know
What
black
color is
was
his
the
natural
color.
eye?
I think blue.
Oh really?
Penza.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
you
I
ever
actually don't know. Maybe
ever
green.
see
I
him?
can't
Like-
remember. But apparently not the dark because he just wore black. Okay, so he must look like he. I never noticed that before. He just looked like he has very dark eyes. All right, next up in the movie. Okay, we actually talked about this. Bo Battens is not just an all-girls school, and Durmstrang is not just an all-boys school. They're both co-ed. For all the underwater scenes, it was a big problem to shoot. They were hard. They were shot in a huge purpose-built tank with a blue screen background. Safety divers swam in between takes with scuba regulators to allow the actors to breathe without having to surface. Daniel Radcliffe alone logged 41 hours and 38 minutes underwater during the course of this filming. At one point during the training, he inadvertently signaled that he was drowning, and the crew freaked the fuck out. But he was fine, thankfully.
Oh shit.
Jesus.
So at least one full-scale dragon was constructed on set, which would even blow real fire. The dragon was created partially from the basilisk puppet seen in the Chamber of Secrets.
That's cool.
Yeah. Repurpose that bad boy.
Cheap motherfuckers.
Reused assets, my ass.
Yeah. The elves, Dobby and Winky, were cut due to time constraints. However, if you watch carefully at the first camp scene, right after Ginny points to something and says, "Look," you can see the two house elves riding llamas very quickly.
What?
By the screen.
What?
I didn't
No
know that.
fucking way.
I'm gonna have to go watch that tonight.
Yep. And then we talked about in the book, Voldemort is described as having red eyes with slits for pupils, but the filmmakers ultimately decided to go with Ralph Fiennes' regular eyes, as it noted much better. And like I said, you do see them for a brief glimpse when he comes to form.
He looks good.
Yeah,
I think
he
so,
already
yeah.
looks very
menacing enough. Yeah.
inhuman, you know?
Yep.
I don't. They don't.
I feel like he even looks
up.
like greasy, like a snake.
Yeah.
And at the
He looks
beginning,
like
he's
an
got
alien.
very
He's got
gaunt
that
and stuff.
shine.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Oily.
He's from another world.
This is the first movie to not show the Dursleys, as Gooch pointed out earlier. They are featured in the book at the very beginning, where they are visited by the Weasley family who come to pick up Harry for the
Then
Quidditch World
in the
Cup.
next
I
one,
forgot about
it's
that
the
part,
one in the
yeah.
tunnel, right, where Dudley looks like a fucking homie. Yeah,
Where's your mum, Potter?
Where's your mum, Potter?
fucking dead.
That's a great intro.
Fucking hate that part. That
Such a jerk off, yeah.
You
It's-
fuck.
Like
It
the,
doesn't have to. We'll talk
the
about
tone
that when we
and
get
color
to
of
it,
that scene's
Yeah,
sick.
I
So
love
dark,
that.
That movie, that entire movie's like blue.
I like
We'll
that.
get
yeah.
there.
Like in my head, it's
I'm-
blue.
I don't remember.
And
Order
Order
of
of
the Phoenix at all.
or Half-Blood Prince is like green. It's like
Yeah.
the book cover.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
definitely
it is.
start
It
to use
is.
more
For blue,
color
for the
grading.
Order
blue
of
for
the
Order of
Phoenix and
Phoenix,
the-
yeah.
They definitely use more color grading in the later. I feel like these ones are definitely more like it's just the color. Like
Yeah.
and they pop. They definitely don't dull them. In this movie, the Weasleys have a really high seat at the Quidditch World Cup. The Malfoys even make fun of them for being so high up in the nosebleed sections. In the book, however, the Weasleys were just as good, and
talked
just
about
as
that,
good, if not even better, scenes as the Malfoy, as the tickets were given to him by Arthur Weasley by Ludo Bagman at the Ministry of Defense, as you guys mentioned, whose character was cut out of the movie completely due to time. Ludo's character is also a degenerate gambler who, throughout the book, tries to help Harry cheat the Triwizard Tournament, but Harry
Because
refuses.
he's trying to make
I think he bets
yeah.
with
Weasleys.
with the Weasleys.
He has
too.
that money. He has like Gringotts
He
money.
owes, like,
That's
everybody.
so funny.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
he's just
Oh yeah, because
baseball.
there's like they like try to like hint at that he might be working for Voldemort in it, and like it just turns out he's just like no, like
He's just-
There is
just,
that
like,
one scene where the
yeah.
brothers are like
retired
making bets
Quidditch
too.
players are degenerate gamblers.
We
Yeah, they're
didn't talk
taken.
about sort of. I mean, we kind of talked about it
We missed it. It's too late.
tangentially.
Let's go.
But it's the not interference, the meddling of the Ministry of Magic in the Triwizard Tournament. I mean, obviously Barty Crouch is there a lot, but like Fudge is kind of announcing it.
Well, they seem to run it, not meddle in it. But like
no. The Triwizard. Yeah, I guess you're right.
No, they seem to be organizing it.
They seem to be a
What?
little bit more
Yeah.
involved.
Well, that's all Ludo Bagman's role that they replace with other people.
Gotcha.
He does all
Yeah.
the announcing, organizing, all that stuff. So they just
Oh,
plug,
okay.
they just plug
Oh,
it in.
wow.
It seemed like they were in
He's
it
like
because
head
like
of
shit was.
magical games and sports.
They
like,
seemed,
like that,
they seemed
like,
to me.
yeah.
It seemed like they were involved because of what happened at the Quidditch World Cup. Like, oh, the Death Eaters are here. Like, we got to get involved at Hogwarts.
Well, see, I took that as them being because he was like, we can't shut this down. It would be embarrassing. I think I took that in the way of like, no, we can't make ourselves seem weak and cancel this because of the Death Eaters.
Which is Fudge's attitude.
throughout, yeah,
Like that's
his
tracks.
thing.
Cornelius
Yeah,
Fudge, eh?
Cornelius
Yeah.
Fudge. All right, gentlemen, we've come to a section we unfortunately missed in our last review, but we will make up for it right now. Our ranking section. So, as of right now, we only have the two, Chamber of Secrets and the Sorcerer's Stone. Do we believe that this is better than the Sorcerer's Stone? Raise your hand.
Wait. Which
No,
one? Which
we're
one are we
Prisoner of
ranking?
Azkaban.
Which one are we ranking?
Oh,
right
I'm,
now?
that's what. I'm sorry. I meant
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Prisoner
Okay.
of Azkaban.
Yeah,
is
we
what
have
we're
to
doing
rank
first.
Prisoner of
Backtrack.
Azkaban because we forgot to do it on the
That's
podcast
what- yeah.
like Drew
I'm
said.
sorry,
But you didn't.
yeah.
You just didn't make it clear.
Gotcha. So yes, we are.
Back
Prisoner
to
of
Prisoner of
Azkaban.
Azkaban.
Do we believe it's better than Sorcerer's Stone? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
All right. Do we believe it's better than Chamber of Secrets? Raise your hand. All right. It is now number one. Chamber of
Almost.
Secrets at number two.
And Where are we at with the Luke Kenny review scale?
Okay. Gooch, you start us.
I forget.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, no, we're not.
High tier movie.
Oh, yeah.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
High tier movie.
Yeah, high tier movie. I kind of agree with what you said.
Treya.
Yeah,
about the-
high tier. I would say high tier movie.
Not to
for
take
sure.
from them, it's just hard to call them films to me.
No, they
Like,
definitely
They're-
feel.
and that's not a problem to me because I love the books. They're fucking fun. Like it's weird. Like,
I think they're all high tier.
I think you got. I think we had this conversation like before. It fits. Like they're not like filmy movies, but
Like Marvel movies, I don't even think are films.
No.
like
per se.
Endgame. I think is
No.
Endgame and like not Civil War, like
The
Winter
Infi-
Soldier.
the-
Like,
I would
They
say
were
Infinity
solid.
War is a film.
The
right,
saga,
like
the
I would
there's-
say-
there's
Yeah.
important.
I think there
like,
are a few
keystones.
Marvel films for me, but yeah, no, I agree.
Like Eternals.
No, are you serious?
Well, that's like shot
Yeah,
like
but
a
that's
film.
like,
I
no,
thought
it's
you
just
were
not.
kidding.
That was, I thought you were kidding. Too.
No, but that's like the most
No.
like.
But not,
filmy-
but no, I'm not.
That's
I mean,
kind of
I'm talking
low
like
mid-tier
quality. That's
film.
just that's like a low. That's a high tier flick. Maybe I've really soured on that movie a lot. I will say,
I didn't hate that movie.
I think it's okay.
High tier flick. Are you fucking kidding?
maybe.
That's Zack
I'm just not
Snyder's
as
art.
invested as you guys, I guess, because I didn't hate it. Like,
That's Zack Snyder and
Just
Spy.
looking back, so much of it doesn't make any sense. But we'll talk more about that at another time. All right, Sorcerer's Stone, is the Goblet of Fire better than that? Raise your hand.
Goblet of Fire.
All right, is it better than the Chamber of Secrets? Raise your hand.
I'm not putting my hand down. So.
No from Penza. All right, it's still at number 3.
I gotta think. on this
Is
next
it
one.
better than Prisoner of Azkaban? Raise your hand. No. So we've come to an impasse. I'm trying
Not
to think
as,
of now
not as
how
the
we.
movie. No.
How do we decide this then?
It's 2 and 2.
Yeah. Well, we've never done this yet.
Well, it would just fall down the bottom, right? Really? Like.
Yeah, I
No.
guess since it's a not. No, it would only be at. It would be at 2 since
It
that was the
only
last
got-
majority.
yeah,
Yes,
it would
that's
be at
correct.
2.
It only
Okay, so
got-
Prisoner of
it's-
Azkaban.
It's
Yeah.
most votes for
Yeah.
it. Correct?
Yeah. So the
so-
order is Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber
Nope.
of Secrets.
Nope. I can read it.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
I know.
Sorry.
I'm being a jerk off. It's Prisoner of Azkaban at number 1, Goblet of Fire at number 2, Chamber of Secrets at number 3, and Sorcerer's Stone at number 4.
Interesting. It's a lot different from my tier list for sure. But I'll stick with the low tier movie. Low tier film for this. I really like this movie. I think I'm surprised about how much I like this movie. It's number 1 in my personal ranking.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'd be at high tier. I'm teetering. I'm gonna go towards high tier movie though.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's a high tier movie. Like
I
I
feel
said,
like we're just gonna
I
be
don't-
high tier movie.
I don't think
from
any
those
No, I
movies,
think-
but yeah.
Like to me, like for it to be a film, like Schindler's List is a film.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I
Right.
Black
You're
and
taking
white.
a-
yeah.
no,
I
you're
feel
just-
like again, as they're aging,
I feel like you're thinking very
Or as we're not
auteurish
aging.
and like very like.
Yeah, it's
like,
like,
I don't
alright.
think that's fair. No,
I'm
yeah.
with you on that though. Like they're high tier movie, which is just a compliment. It's not to undersell it.
Sure.
But it doesn't have. I don't know how to describe it, but I agree with Matt. Like it's not a film to me.
like I'm curious if I'm gonna go up or I'm gonna stay between low tier film, high tier movie this entire. run,
The next 4 movies, because this part obviously.
which we are deciding that we're gonna do 2 parts.
We
for
never
part
said that
1
we
and
were
2.
never going to do that.
I think
we
we-
never even told them.
I
That's why
thought-
Gooch
they
was
would-
like, make sure they're cool with that. I'm like, we never even but we never
No,
mentioned that. To
I
I think we kicked it
Yes,
around
We
a
did.
couple
Did we?
talk
I
about
just
it?
don't- I
didn't even think we
feel like
mentioned it.
I brought that up a
No,
lot.
we said in the
Are you
chat.
kidding
this
me?
week.
Schedule
That's the
McQueen
well. That's
here?
the. It just
Yeah.
felt like a
Yeah.
bit of a cheat.
Yeah,
So
so-
we're going to keep it to the 2. So we're going to have the full 8.
Part 1 and
total.
2 will get their own episodes. We will
Oh,
not.
all right,
combine
that's
them.
fine.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
There'll
what-
be enough to talk about on.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
I wanted to not mix up the box office and like some of the
Yeah.
facts and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, and then when we were when you said, I'm like, yeah, you know what, we're gonna run into the issue.
Like, we're
we
all-
just
and-
watched 2 movies.
And goddamn it,
together.
we're already at 7. We might as well do, or like at
Yeah.
7 episodes. You might as well do the fucking 8.
I
Who
think
cares?
what I was gonna say was, I think 5 and 6. I think that these next 2 are the best of the 2. Even
Okay.
though I'm a huge Prisoner of Azkaban fan, I think like Order of Phoenix is
Priz ass.
fucking
You a
awesome.
Priz ass man?
We're getting
Yeah.
ahead of ourselves.
And I,
here,
re-
Penza.
I know,
We
but I'm
gotta
just saying that's what we got
slow
next.
down.
I think you
know.
guys are really gonna enjoy Prisoner of
I
Azkaban.
I love it.
Order of the Phoenix is, yeah.
I mean,
we'll get
sorry.
there.
I think you guys are really
Order of
gonna
the Phoenix, yeah.
enjoy
One
Order
of
of the
my, I
Phoenix.
think my favorite scene in the series is in Order of the Phoenix. I'm not talking
yeah.
about it, but-
The ball are kind of.
Nah, my favorite is in.
Gooch really is hung up
Part
on his
two.
ball.
I'm liking the ball, man. I wanted to go to the ball. The ball and the like the final scene with Voldemort, and then the scene from Prisoner of Azkaban in the Shrieking Shack. Like 3 big big on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The Yule Ball as like a set piece, I like. Maybe not the scene. There's like
Sure.
it's like a fucking
Because
chunk
you're
of
a
the
fucking
movie.
romantic, dude.
It-
You want to go to that and you want to be dressed
Dude,
up and you want to boogie.
yeah,
I get it.
exactly.
You, yeah.
Long
Gooch wants to put on
Gooch
his
is-
wizard
Long
swag
Island
and get
Gooch
to
is
the-
coming
yeah.
out.
You
for
want
the Yule Ball.
you want a butterbeer and you want to go out there and shake some frumptail,
And
dude.
get
I get
fucking
it.
crazy.
and listen to that
Yeah, but-
band. You didn't have a fun fact about the band.
So I forgot to look it up.
Yeah, whatever.
Because
What the fuck,
I
bro?
didn't see it. It was something about they wanted to originally use a different band, and then that band backed out. And I think that band's name
How
was
do you
actually
back out of Harry Potter?
because I think that band's name was actually Weird Sister, and they didn't like that their like name was being like I guess used
In the
a
most
different-
popular franchise in the
I don't know.
world at
It
the
was very
time.
odd.
Like, how dare
dude,
they?
that if anything, that's press, bro.
I know. They're,
I agree,
Uh,
but that might be wrong. That's
wait.
all I remember off the top of my head.
I just thought, unrelated, they didn't go over it. So, winner of the Triwizard Tournament got 10,000 galleons, which is like the gold coins. Harry gave all of it to the Weasley twins
Oh,
Why them?
because they were done school and
They graduated.
and you'll see it in the next movie.
they open up
the
that
next
shop.
two, yeah, they go off and do that. Like, in the whole time, it's like, you can't do that, you can't do that. And
Oh, this is
Harry's
what
like,
it is.
here's your money.
Okay. All right. I'm so sorry.
Gives it to them, yeah.
It's two Radiohead members.
Oh.
Johnny Greenwood and Phil Sulway, and then another band called The Pulps. Jarvis Cocker and Steve Mackey were part of the Britpop wizard supergroup Weird Sisters.
Okay,
There we
That's
go.
what it was.
That makes
It's-
more
it's
sense.
two Radiohead
Glad we
guys.
could.
thank God we could
determine
fix
this.
that up. Yeah, Gooch.
But anyway, guys,
Buckle up, dude. It's
That
about to fucking take
Seriously.
off.
the boulder is falling down a hill,
And it-
guys.
And it gets going.
Yeah.
You better come with questions. 'cause
yeah,
this is
that-
where it gets good.
That's
Absolutely.
been Goblet of Fire. Thanks for watching, guys. Wow, I'm blanking. You can find this podcast at youtube.com/DelcoNerdNetwork or on your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, whatever. We're on it. If we're not, just let us know.
Yeah.
I think we're
We got them all down.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can follow us at Delco Nerds, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.com/DelcoNerdNetwork. And as well, you can join our Discord, which is in the description of this podcast. Also on our site, DelcoNerdNetwork.com. You can also email us at DelcoNerds, comments, questions, concerns, things for the good of the group. Let us
Yeah, that's
know.
at Gmail, by the way. Delconerds at Gmail.
What'd I say?
I missed, you might have said our Gmail, and then
Did I say
you
like
might have
DelcoNerds.com?
you might have said it. I just wanted to double cover it.
It's on the website.
Yeah, it's on the website.
Guys, thanks for watching. Stay nerdy.